Chapter 476, Asking for more guidance from Lu Lang _1, After a long while, Ling Zixiao seemed to have caught her breath from suffocation. Her delicate body was soft, her fair skin like snow, and her beautiful face flushed like the morning glow, alluring and enchanting. Zixiao, if we are to heal through dual cultivation, this won't do, Lu Changsheng, with his handsome face, gently smiled as he embraced the bowtie's fragrant shoulders and whispered into her ear. The previously composed and serene lady was now in his arms, showing such an endearingly shy and charming color that it was overwhelmingly satisfying. Ling Zixiao's body was already limp, and a breath by her ear made her heart flutter uncontrollably. Her eyebrows arched, and with a slight frown in her beautiful eyes, she said in a delicate voice, "I would ask for Lu Lang's further guidance." "As Dao companions, it is only natural," Lu Changsheng replied. Having said that, he captured her bright, moist lips once again. Since they had to use the dragon invocation technique to heal Ling Zixiao's condition, it was necessary for Ling Zixiao to get used to the intimate contact between man and woman in advance. Otherwise, if they were to proceed without any cooperation, it might affect the healing. As the oppressive and plundering sensation invaded again, Ling Zixiao's body softened even more, and her heart skipped a beat. But with her recent experience, she slowly closed her bright eyes, her long lashes casting a shadow of shyness, and her hands gently resting on Lu Changsheng's shoulders, awkwardly reciprocating. Their lips and teeth intertwined. At times gently like a breeze and drizzling rain, at times suddenly like a gusty downpour, and at times fiercely like a raging tempest. Tisk, tsk, tisk, as time passed, Ling Zixiao gradually mastered the technique. Knowing how to respond properly, she was no longer as bashfully nervous and tense as before. This inwardly impressed Lu Changsheng, truly worthy of being an array master. Her comprehension and learning ability were indeed extraordinary. Immediately after, he began a more advanced teaching. Just as she had adjusted and mastered some skills, under this advanced action, Ling Zixiao suddenly trembled as if electrified, almost collapsing. The rhythm between her lips was instantly disrupted, her breath becoming rapid and breathless. Seeing this, Lu Changsheng slowly released the sweet softness from his grasp. His eyes were tender as he looked at the beautiful lady, as lovely as a plum blossom in the cold. At this moment, her beautiful face was red as sunset clouds, burning hot. Below her curved eyebrows, her eyes were as clear and sparkling as Chushui, brimming with charm. "Lu Lang, I have some things to attend to later. I shall accompany you another day." Ling Zixiao's cheeks were flushingly enticing, and her eyes roamed as she exhaled a breath as fragrant as orchids. With that, her eyes slightly downcast, she hurriedly straightened her disheveled dress, her heart pounding. Although she didn't reject becoming intimate with Lu Changsheng and had psychologically prepared herself, this pace was still a bit overwhelming for her. No worries, there is plenty of time ahead. Attend to your affairs first." Lu Changsheng watched the lovely figure before him, chuckled, and seemed unconcerned about the truth of her words. Since the matter had been decided, he wasn't eager to immediately conquer Ling Zixiao. It was only right to give her some time to prepare. Besides, they were currently in her shop's guest lounge, which wasn't very convenient. "Zixiao, if you need anything, you can come find me at Treasure Elixir Pavilion. I will mostly be there these days," Lu Changsheng announced. He had previously promised the sisters of the Li family to attend the alchemist position. Therefore, he would stay in the Immortal City for another month. This month would be just enough time to concoct elixir medicines for Ling Zixiao and resolve the issue of her dragon roar physique. Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Upon hearing this name, Ling Zixiao was somewhat surprised. Having lived in Zhouxiao Immortal City for many years, she certainly knew of Treasure Elixir Pavilion. She had also heard that a new alchemy master had been invited to the pavilion not long ago. But she hadn't paid much attention to the news. Now, hearing Lu Changsheng's words, she immediately realized that this alchemy master at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion was none other than Lu Changsheng himself. "All right, once I have attended to my affairs, I will seek out Lu Lang. If you need anything, you can also come find me at any time," Ling Zixiao said, her head slightly bowed and her face still flushed with an attractive rosy hue. Lu Changxing nodded, and with a slight shift of his mental spirit, his entire body glowed. His handsome visage instantly transformed into that of a ruggedly attractive middle-aged man in his 30s. His presence and demeanor also changed in an instant. What an astonishing illusion disguise technique. Ling Zixiao, witnessing this transformation, couldn't help but marvel internally as there was no trace of Lu Changsheng's disguise to be detected. Lu Lang, allow me to see you out, Ling Zixiao offered, intending to rise. Given your current state, there's no need for you to see me off, Lu Changxing said with a smile, noting the blush on Ling Zixiao's face. Upon hearing this, she didn't insist any further. Huh. After watching Lu Changxing leave, Ling Zixiao sighed deeply, the shy color on her face dissipating. She tidied her clothes and hair, and with a cleansing technique, she immediately restored her dignified and graceful appearance. Lu Changxing, she murmured the name to herself. Since he was willing to swear an oath on his heart demon and sign a spiritual contract, his motives should be just as he says, aiming for my formation skills, or perhaps, the origin source of my dragon roar physique, so regardless, for now, he bears me no ill will. Ling Zixiao's face was calm as she pondered inwardly. She decisively agreed to Lu Changsheng's request, not only for the hope of curing her dragon roar physique and saving her life, but also because her years of experience allowed her to feel, through Lu Changsheng's actions and demeanor, that his words didn't seem false, and he wasn't some heretic cultivator or demon cultivator. Of course, she couldn't deny that her decision was influenced by Lu Changsheng's appearance, his bearing, his affable charm, and the attraction he exuded. Chapter 477, asking for more guidance from Lu Lang. She had been cultivating since she was young, immersed in the formation path. She had never considered emotional matters. After her breakthrough to foundation establishment, especially because of her dragon roar physique, she devoted all her energy to the formation path and life extension. Having been so busy for many years, with less than 1 year of life remaining, she felt a hint of loneliness in her heart. Lu Changsheng's marriage proposal, although full of utilitarianism and interest exchange, piqued her interest, and she entertained the idea of giving it a try. After all, when one is about to die, naturally there are fewer concerns. Thus, she decided to accept decisively, to give it a shot and take a gamble. At worst, it would just mean death. However, the actions of Lu Changxing, the oath against the heart demon, and the signing of the spiritual contract, reassured her quite a bit. She knew that Lu Changxing must have some confidence in saving her. As for the future, they could only take it one step at a time. However, this person is probably not any ordinary cultivator. Ling Zixiao thought of Lu Changsheng's adept actions just now that had left her feeling weak and breathless, and she scoffed lightly. Then, she left the shop and went to the Heaven Knowledge Tower in the Immortal City. This was the largest intelligence organization in Jianghu Immortal City. Its background was very mysterious, not only spreading across the Jianghu country cultivation realm but also throughout the surrounding cultivation countries. I want to buy information. Do you have any about this person? In the Qingyun region, his name is Lu Changxing. Ling Zixiao arrived on the second floor of Heaven Knowledge Tower, inside a room, and lightly tapped, making a water mirror appear. Shown in the water mirror was the image of Lu Changxing. However, this water mirror could only reveal Lu Changsheng's facial features and couldn't capture his immortal-like demeanor. Qingyun region, Lu Changxing. The attendant was a person dressed in black. She glanced at the face in the water mirror, then took out a crystal and held it against her forehead with both hands. After a while, the information on this person was last updated 2 years ago. The price is 300 spirit stones. The person in black announced the price. 2 years ago, 300 spirit stones? Ling Zixiao was slightly surprised upon hearing the price. Okay, she nodded immediately and took out spirit stones from her storage bag. With this jade slip, when you purchase subsequent information about this person in the future, you will only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones, the black-clothed person said after taking the spirit stones, handing her a white jade slip. Understood, Ling Zixiao nodded. She had bought quite a bit of information from Heaven Knowledge Tower before and knew the rules here. She pressed the jade slip against her forehead to check the information about Lu Changxing inside. What? Ling Zixiao, seeing the information about Lu Changxing, showed a look of astonishment. Having heard the price of 300 spirit stones, she felt something was off. Information about a foundation establishment cultivator couldn't possibly be so cheap. Yet, looking at the information about Lu Changxing in the jade slip, she was taken aback. Qingzhou Mountain, son-in-law of the Lu family. Relying on his talent in talisman making, he earned a significant position within the Lu family. 7th level energy refinement, 2nd rank talisman master. Has 7 wives and 13 concubines. Over 100 children. If it were not for her trust in Heaven Knowledge Tower and the fact that his appearance matched, she would have thought this information was faulty. Because it didn't match at all. From her brief encounter before, she knew that Lu Changxing was a foundation establishment cultivator. And also an alchemy master. Do you have more detailed information about this person? Ling Zixiao looked at the black-clothed person and asked. Such information will not be too detailed in our Heaven Knowledge Tower records, but if the customer needs, we can dispatch someone to search for detailed information for an additional fee, the person in black replied. Although their Heaven Knowledge Tower was an intelligence organization, they couldn't possibly have detailed information on everything. The fact that Lu Changxing's information was recorded was because he had ascended to 2nd rank talisman master. No need, Ling Zixiao shook her head after hearing this. Having the Heaven Knowledge Tower investigate would take months or even years. She simply didn't have the time to wait that long. Moreover, if Lu Changxing knew she was inquiring about his detailed information, it might lead to his displeasure. Lu Changxing, Ling Zixiao looked at the information in the jade slip, thinking of the Lu Changxing she had met before, her beautiful eyes slightly narrowed. Senior Yi, you're back. Having left Zixiao's formation shop, Lu Changxing went to the treasure elixir pavilion. In the hall, Li Xingyu, dressed in a light yellow skirt and with a sweet expression, saw him and immediately showed delight. Xingyu, Lu Changxing nodded with a slight smile. After briefly chatting with the young girl, he learned that someone from the Li family had come to visit him. Someone from the Li family is here to see me? Lu Changxing raised an eyebrow upon hearing this. He naturally knew of this Li family, it was the clan of the Li sisters. Having no prior acquaintance with the Li family, he wondered why they would come to visit him. However, he immediately guessed it must be related to the Li sisters. Given the situation at Treasure Elixir Pavilion before, it was evident that the Li family was intent on forcing the sisters into a difficult position in Immortal City. Now, with his presence revitalizing the business at Treasure Elixir Pavilion, it was sure to have irked the Li family. So, this visit was likely to bode ill. It's fine, just inform me the next time he comes over, he said casually to the young girl. Over the past month, his impression of the Li sisters had been quite favorable. He was also willing to lend them a hand. Thank you, Senior Yi. Li Xingyia's cute face immediately lit up with joy upon hearing this. The visit from the Li family yesterday had caused her much worry. She was afraid of causing trouble for Lu Changxing. And she was concerned that Lu Changxing would hence leave Treasure Elixir Pavilion because of it. No worries, I'm here. I'm off to refine some elixirs, let me know if you need anything, Lu Changxing said with a smile. He made his way to the alchemy chamber in the backyard. At that moment, Li Xingrua was in the midst of alchemy. Seeing Lu Changxing's arrival, she immediately showed a delighted expression. It was clear she was also troubled by the Li family's visit. Senior Yi, if this matter is going to cause trouble for you, you can leave, Li Xingrua said to Lu Changxing, her voice low and lips slightly pursed. She knew she couldn't secure a resident alchemist because of her family. But she never expected the Li family to go so far as to send someone directly to her. This made her both angry and annoyed. Since I've agreed to be your resident alchemist and accepted your spirit stones, how could I just leave like that? Don't worry, take it easy, Lu Changxing said with a light chuckle, patting Li Xingrua on the head. He could understand the worries of the Li sisters, but to him, this was hardly any trouble. After all, the Li family, plainly speaking, was just a foundation establishment family. If he were worried about trouble, he would not have accepted the position of resident alchemist in the first place. Li Xingrua felt an unprecedented sense of security when she heard the calm and gentle words of Lu Changxing and felt his generous hand on her head, reminiscent of times when her father was around, and she didn't have to worry or think too much about anything. "Thank you, Senior Yi," Li Xingrua said softly, her lips pursed. "Just be at ease, I've got everything under control," Lu Changxing said, waving his hand nonchalantly. As he spoke, he took out a jade slip, made a list, and handed it to Li Xingrua. "Xingrua, when you have time, help me acquire these few types of spiritual medicines." Although he had purchased many alchemy spirit medicines, they were all for refining breakthrough elixirs, second-rank breakthrough elixirs, three suns elixirs, harmonizing energy elixirs, and true essence elixirs, elixirs that were useful to him. It wasn't possible to buy just any spiritual medicine. This list contained some auxiliary materials for the Foundation Establishment elixir, as well as ingredients needed to refine a life-saving elixir for Ling Zixiao. "Certainly, Senior Yi," Li Xingrua replied upon hearing his request, taking the jade slip and responding immediately. "Your elixir is almost ready," Lu Changxing glanced at the nearby pill furnace and reminded her. Li Xingrua promptly snapped back to attention, watching the pill furnace with a serious expression. As soon as the spiritual mechanism of the furnace activated, she formed hand seals with both hands and called out, "Solidify. Open." After the elixirs solidified, the lid of the furnace flew open, and the pills soared out. You didn't grasp the timing for the elixir condensation just now, and the heat was a bit too strong earlier, causing some of the medicinal effects in the liquid to evaporate. Lu Changxing pointed out the issues immediately after seeing the elixirs, which resulted in 9 successful pills, 2 waste pills, and 3 inferior pills. "Thank you for the guidance, Senior Yi," Li Xingrua said thoughtfully as she nodded her head. She then tried another batch, looking to review and improve. "Senior Yi," just then, Li Xingyi's voice came from outside. "What's the matter?" Lu Changxing asked promptly. "The member of the Li family who came to visit you is here," Li Xingyu said. Chapter 478, Indeed No Decent Person, Start Healing. _1 I didn't expect the Li family to come so soon. It seems they must have someone keeping watch near the treasure elixir pavilion. Otherwise, how could they have shown up just after I returned? Alright, I'll take a look. Lu Changxing stepped out of the alchemy chamber and prepared to see what they wanted. Li Xingrua also went out with him. The three of them arrived at the shop's main hall. There stood a man in his 30s, dressed in an ink-colored magical robe, with a gaunt face. Upon seeing Lu Changxing and the two sisters approaching, he immediately greeted them respectfully. "Li Jianghu of the Li family, at your service, Master Yi. What can I do for you?" There's an old saying that one shouldn't slap a smiling face. Seeing how polite the other party was, Lu Changxing didn't respond with cold words but spoke indifferently instead. "I've heard of Master Yi's great reputation, and I've specially come to pay my respects." Li Jianghu took out a beautifully crafted gift box from his storage bag and politely said. "No need for gifts. If you have something to say, speak. If there's nothing, I have alchemy to do." Lu Changxing looked at the behavior of the other party, his expression indifferent, without any sign of fluctuation, and said. He wondered what the Li family meant by this visit. It didn't seem like they were here to cause trouble. Or perhaps it was a strategy to first offer gifts and then troopers? To prevent him from interfering in the matter between the Li sisters and the Li family? Hearing that Master Yi has recently arrived in Immortal City, our Li family wishes to inquire whether Master Yi intends to settle down here. Our Li family's base, Great Cliff Mountain, is not far from Immortal City. Our clan doesn't only have 4 Foundation Establishment great cultivators but also inheritance from a second-rank alchemist. I have come to invite Master Yi to become a guest elder for our Li family, as long as Master Yi is willing, Li Jianghu said with a smile and in a polite tone, indicating the intention of his visit. Upon hearing this, Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu, the two sisters, glared at Li Jianghu in anger. It was precisely because of the Li family that their treasure elixir pavilion had always failed to invite a presiding alchemist. Now that they finally had Lu Changxing, the Li family immediately sent someone over, causing them considerable irritation. I have already signed a contract with the treasure elixir pavilion. Am now the presiding alchemist of the shop. So please, you should leave, Lu Changxing said directly upon hearing this. Since that is the case, I have intruded. Still, please accept this token of goodwill, Li Changhu said upon hearing this, not insisting further. His main purpose for coming was to test the relationship between Lu Changxing and the Li sisters. And now, judging by Lu Changxing's attitude, he mostly understood that Lu Changxing did not hold the Li family in high regard and was clearly on the sisters' side. I don't accept rewards without merit, no need for gifts, Lu Changxing said, waving his hand. Master Yi, actually, I came here to apologize to my two nieces and to clarify the misunderstanding from the past, Li Changhu sighed and said out loud. He implied there was a misunderstanding between Li Xingrua and her sister and the family from the beginning. The family had no ill will towards the Li sisters originally. It was merely because a foundation establishment ancestor had some grievances with their parents, resulting in domineering actions. But before the matter was settled and dealt with by the family elder, Li Xingrua abruptly abandoned the family's assets, taking her sister and leaving the family, severing ties, rendering the situation distinctly stiff. Otherwise, considering their parents' contributions and Li Xingruo's talent in alchemy, how could the Li family act in such a way? Over these years, had the sisters admitted their mistake, the family wouldn't have held past issues against them and would have treated them well once more. There's no misunderstanding, we sisters no longer have ties with the Li family and want return, Li Xingrua said coldly, her face frosty. She wasn't naive. There might have been misunderstandings in the Li family's past. But this year's events had thoroughly chilled her heart. How could she believe these words? To lightly mention misunderstanding and sweep all past affairs under the rug? If it genuinely was a misunderstanding, why would the Li family wait until now to send Li Changhu to apologize and clear things up? In truth, it was all on account of face given to Lu Changxing, the alchemy master, that the Li family sent someone to speak of a misunderstanding. Otherwise, they would have only continued to pressure the sisters into submission. In the end, they would either have to sell the shop and leave Jiuxiao Immortal City or bow their heads and admit wrong to the family. Fine, I'll accept the gift, but whether it's a misunderstanding or not is none of my concern. I am the alchemist of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion now, and I don't want any more trouble from you at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, Lu Changxing spoke up. After hearing all of this, he had a clear understanding of Li Changhe's purpose for coming. It was to see what relationship he had with the Li sisters. If there was none, perhaps a gift would have been offered in hopes he'd stay out of the family's business. If there was a good relationship, it would be a gesture of goodwill and an attempt at reconciliation. Now that he grasped the situation, Lu Changxing wasn't going to press the issue aggressively to seek justice for the sisters. After all, his relationship with the two wasn't so deep yet. He didn't have the leisure, time, or the inclination to handle such matters. As long as the Li family stopped causing trouble for the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, that was enough. By accepting the gift, he was indicating his stance that the matter should be put to rest. Yes, I have tax master yes patience, I take my leave. Seeing that Lu Changxing was willing to accept the gift, Li Changhu also heaved a sigh of relief. This indicated that Lu Changxing wouldn't get involved with the Li family on behalf of the sisters. Although the Li family didn't fear Lu Changxing, they had no desire to offend a second-rank high-class alchemist over such a trivial matter. Farewell, I won't see you out. Chapter 479, Indeed no decent person, start healing. Lu Changxing spoke indifferently. Senior Yi, thank you. After Li Changhu left, Li Xingruo's eyes reddened, and she pursed her lips, sincerely thanking Lu Changxing with a serious face. Although Lu Changxing did not mention getting justice for them, the fact that he was willing to stand by their side made her very grateful. Senior Yi, thank you so much. Li Xingyu, standing beside her, also expressed her thanks. Despite her young age, she was not foolish. She knew the Li family had come to apologize and resolve the grudge because of Lu Changxing's influence. Otherwise, why would they choose this particular time to come, if not earlier or later? Hee, it's nothing. The Li family probably won't come to bother you anymore. Xingrua, in the coming days, you could try inviting a second-rank alchemist to preside in the shop. That way, when I leave, there will still be an alchemist in charge here. Lu Changxing patted the sisters' heads with a chuckling smile, speaking warmly. He knew in his heart that the feud between the sisters and the Li family had come to a temporary close. Yes, Senior Yi. Upon hearing Lu Changsheng's talk of leaving, the sisters suddenly felt a sense of loss. The past month spent with Lu Changxing had been the happiest and most carefree time of their year. They had developed certain feelings for Lu Changxing. They very much wished that Lu Changxing could stay forever. But they clearly understood that in another month, after finishing his business, Lu Changxing would leave. This is what status and power are all about. Xingrua and her parents were originally foundation establishment cultivators of the Li family. However, after both of them passed away, the family's warmth faded, and they were treated this way by the family. Now, just because I arrived at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, an alchemist's status made the Li family willing to send someone to express goodwill, apologize, and resolve the grudge. Lu Changxing returned to the alchemy chamber and gently shook his head, feeling quite reflective on the matter. In the following days, besides resting, Lu Changxing spent most of his time refining elixir medicines and making talismans at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. One day, Ling Zixiao visited the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. Master Ling? Li Xingyu greeted Ling Zixiao respectfully upon seeing her in the shop. Jiuxiao Immortal City was neither too big nor too small. As an array master, Ling Zixiao had a certain reputation in the city. So, Li Xingyu had seen her before. Is Alchemist Yi here? Ling Zixiao greeted Li Xingyu with a shallow smile and spoke with dignified elegance. She had prepared herself over the past several days, arranging all her affairs in order to inquire about her treatment with Lu Changxing. After all, to her, curing the dragon roar physique was the most important matter. If it were to be delayed further, each day added more risk to her condition. Moreover, after purchasing information about Lu Changxing from the Heaven Knowledge Tower, she found herself a bit more curious about him. She wanted to get to know the man through personal contact. You're looking for Senior Yi? Li Xingyu found it somewhat surprising to hear this. She had not expected that Senior Yi knew this Master Ling. Yes, I have an appointment with Alchemist Yi. If he's here, please let him know. Ling Zixiao said with a smile. As she spoke, her beautiful eyes appraised Li Xingyu, who seemed young and adorable. She couldn't help but think to herself, surely Lu Changxing wasn't settling in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion with an eye on this young girl? She remembered that after the previous owners of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion had passed away, only their children were left to manage the shop. This man is really not any decent cultivator. Ling Zixiao spat inwardly. She was even more certain that Lu Changxing was not a decent cultivator. Otherwise, there wouldn't be such a coincidence. He just happened to settle in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. Clearly, he had improper thoughts about the young girl. Inside the alchemy chamber, Lu Changxing, who was engaged in alchemy, naturally had no idea of Ling Zixiao's thoughts. Senior Yi, Master Ling from Zishao Array Store said she has an appointment with you and has come to find you. Li Xingyu called out from outside the alchemy chamber. I am in the midst of refining elixirs, Xingyu, please ask her to come in. Upon hearing this, Lu Changxing immediately responded. All right, Senior Yi. Before long, Li Xingyu had invited Ling Zixiao in. Zixiao, you've come. Inside the alchemy chamber, Lu Changxing turned to look at Ling Zixiao, dressed in a lake blue skirt and graceful in demeanor, and spoke warmly. Lu Lang, I have settled my affairs in the past few days, so I am available at any time now. Ling Zixiao looked at Lu Changxing, her face breaking into a shallow smile, her voice crisp and melodious, truly captivating. I am short one batch of elixir medicines. In 3 days, once I've completed them, I will begin treating your injuries, Zixiao. Lu Changxing spoke after a moment of contemplation. All right, in that case, I won't disturb Lu Lang with his alchemy, I will go and make preparations. Ling Zixiao nodded, agreeing. Since Zixiao is already here, why hurry away? Lu Changxing looked at the beautiful woman before him, elegant and dignified, and chuckled softly. He stepped forward and gently encircled the beautiful woman's waist. Lu Lang, I am a little unaccustomed to this demeanor of yours. Ling Zixiao softly nestled in Lu Changsheng's arms, her voice melodious and tender. Hee hee. Lu Changsheng chuckled upon hearing this. He thought that Ling Zixiao's prompt agreement to his offer of partnership was likely influenced by his appearance. This was normal. Cultivators were still human. They could not be completely detached from worldly matters. Just like him, his preferences had not changed over the many years. He still liked young and beautiful women. If appearances did not matter in the cultivation world, elixir medicines like the beautifying elixir, youth-preserving elixir, and others would have long lost their market. The old man Tian Ku had not needed to put the effort into creating the immortal beauty technique. Lu Changsheng's mental spirit stirred slightly and the disguise from the misty sky bead in his dantian momentarily dissolved, revealing his true appearance. Then he lovingly gazed at Ling Zixiao with gentle eyes, reaching out to pinch the lovely chin of the beautiful lady. Chapter 480, Indeed No Decent Person, Start Healing. Lu Lang. Ling Zixiao's beautiful eyes shimmered with light. She pursed her luminous, glistening red lips, stood on tiptoe of her own accord, wrapped her arms around Lu Changsheng's neck, and offered her warm, soft lips. Lu Changsheng felt a tender fragrance overwhelm his mouth. Tss, Ling Zixiao was highly perceptive. With the experience of the previous 2 times, she was now able to actively grasp the rhythm. However, when her bosom was held, her delicate nose couldn't help but whimper, and her breathing became a bit hurried, causing her full and shapely thighs beneath her skirt to weaken slightly. But she tried to calm her emotions, gradually getting used to the sensation. As time passed, however, Ling Zixiao still fell into defeat. Her clothes were disheveled, her eyes brimmed with bashful allure, her delicate body like putty, nearly hanging on Lu Changsheng, her breaths deep with the scent of faint orchids. It seems it won't be long before Zixiao can fully adapt, Lu Changsheng said, cradling the beauty in his arms, feeling the creamy smoothness in his hands. It had to be said, Ling Zixiao's aptitude was indeed astounding. If nurtured properly, she would certainly display incredible talent in this regard. However, he felt that his actions had somewhat trapped him. Ever since arriving at Jianghu Immortal City, he had been cultivating his moral character. Now faced with Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique, his Bodis yang energy rose and spread, causing a slight heat in his lower abdomen. Humph. Hearing this, Ling Zixiao glanced at Lu Changsheng with a roll of her lovely eyes, snorting lightly through her nose. She had thought that after reading some books on dual cultivation and preparing herself mentally these past few days, she would surely not be as vulnerable as before. Yet under Lu Changsheng's skill, she still found herself weak and defeated. She affirmed once more that Lu Changsheng was no ordinary cultivator. After all, the dual cultivation technique talked about yin and yang working together, comprehending the great Tao. Where did all these tricks come from? She, a foundation establishment cultivator, felt just like an ordinary woman. Lu Changsheng chuckled lightly, doting on Ling Zixiao, making conversation, getting to know each other. Only when the elixir medicines in the pill furnace were nearly ready did he and Ling Zixiao separate. Upon seeing this, Ling Zixiao tidied her disordered clothes and hair, then left the alchemy chamber. When she arrived in the hall, she saw Li Xingrua chatting with Li Xingyu. Ling Master. Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu immediately looked towards Ling Zixiao and greeted her. Miss Li. Ling Zixiao returned the greeting with a faint smile, her demeanor composed and graceful. She sized up Li Xingrua in front of her. Skin white as jade, features clear and elegant, bright eyes and a high forehead, like the fresh luminescence of a new moon. Between her brows, there was an air of pure, steely valor. Such looks were of top-class beauty. She had a charm that Li Xingyu, who was yet to mature, lacked. Seeing Li Xingrua before her, Ling Zixiao once again firmed up her speculation. Lu Changsheng had come to Treasure Elixir Pavilion with designs on the 2 sisters. But she didn't say much. After a brief chat with the 2 sisters, she took her leave. 10 days later. The night was misty. Within a cave dwelling on Jianghu Mountain, Zixiao, I'm about to start, Lu Changsheng said, embracing the sweaty and plush Ling Zixiao, their eyes locked on each other. 7 days ago, after refining the elixir medicines, he and Ling Zixiao had come to the cave-dwelling area of Jiuxia Mountain and rented a dwelling. After all, healing required a quiet place, free from interruptions. Moreover, the cave-dwelling was not only quiet, but also rich in spiritual energy, which was helpful for the movement of mana. Now, after 7 days of preparation, Lu Changxing was about to deploy the dragon invocation technique to address Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique. Lu Lang. Ling Zixiao's face was flushed with apprehension. Theoretically, the 3 secret techniques could solve her dragon roar physique. But it was only in theory. If it turned out to be ineffective, all her days spent. However, she didn't dwell too much on the what-ifs. As the saying goes, the pathway to a woman's heart is. Having fused spiritually and physically over the past few days, she found that besides not seeming like a serious cultivator, Lu Changxing was comfortable and pleasant to be with. Dragon Invocation Technique. Lu Changxing didn't say much more and activated the technique. A fierce and domineering flood dragon roared out aggressively, entered Ling Zixiao's body, and began its plundering. Boom! The dragon roar of the yang energy in Ling Zixiao, feeling provoked at that moment, flared violently, erupting throughout her body, filling her limbs and bones, making her grimace in pain. Not good. Lu Changxing instantly realized that by using the dragon invocation technique to harvest the dragon roar's yang energy, he had disrupted the balance of yin and yang that Ling Zixiao had barely maintained with precious resources. He immediately lifted his hand, causing the second-rank talismans and elixir medicines, which he had already prepared beside the bed, to fly into his palms. He used the elixir medicines and activated the talismans on her to suppress the dragon roar's yang energy. Seize. Lu Changxing did not go straight for harvesting the spiritual Buddhist origin source. Having just started, he had to stabilize the balance of yin and yang in her body as much as possible before attempting to seize the origin source. Roar. The flood dragon roared and began to consume and plunder the dragon roar's yang energy. Confronted with the outburst and plunder of the yang energy within her, Ling Zixiao tightly closed her eyes and let out a high-pitched moan. Her tensed body trembled uncontrollably, incapable of self-action, her consciousness barely clear. She could only place all her hopes on Lu Changxing. So this is the dragon roar of yang energy? Lu Changxing, via the dragon invocation technique, could feel threads of the dragon roar's yang energy entering his body. The yang energy snatched away was very thin. But Lu Changxing could sense that this yang energy was beneficial to him. Chapter 481, Indeed No Decent Person, Start Healing. _4 It could nourish the flesh and blood of the body, even accelerating the flow of spiritual energy within the meridians. The dragon roar physique truly is one of the top-level spiritual bodies, Lu Changxing murmured to himself. To use the dragon invocation technique to harvest energy from Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique, he couldn't help but have some expectations for the origin characteristics of this physique. After all, the dragon roar physique was one of the top-level spiritual bodies. It was a tier above his own Gengjin body constitution and blood talisman spiritual body. Although the dragon invocation technique could not completely harvest and plunder the dragon roar physique, it could still harvest some of its characteristics, which would be greatly beneficial to him. The dragon roar of yang energy is equal to providing me with an endless nourishment for my body. Lu Changxing's 100 refinements treasure body art circulated within him, refining the dragon roar of yang energy. With mana, he operated the dragon invocation technique to harvest the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Zixiao's body. Bring the elixir. After a moment of harvesting, Lu Changxing saw that the second-rank spirit pill that Ling Zixiao had just consumed was already expended. He thought to himself how domineering this dragon roar physique was. He immediately administered another life-saving elixir to Ling Zixiao. The dragon roar of yang energy, the power of the elixir medicines, the force of the talisman, and the plundering of the dragon invocation technique led to her mind going blank with dizziness. Her beautiful eyes fluttered, her vision blurred with mist, her luscious red lips gasped for air, occasionally letting out sounds like soft complaints or cries. Boom boom boom, under Lu Changsheng's harvesting, the blood within Ling Xixiu's body also began to surge faster, more and more rapidly, like a raging river. As the saying goes, pulling one hair could affect the whole body. The dragon roar of yang energy of the dragon roar physique resided in the human bodis meridians and blood. As Lu Changsheng plundered the dragon roar of yang energy through the dragon invocation technique, it naturally caused Ling Xixiu's blood to also be pulled, rushing frenetically. It is indeed difficult to plunder a spiritual body without harming the woman herself. Seeing this scene, Lu Changsheng's face showed a hint of seriousness. He had previously guessed that resolving the dragon roar physique using the dragon invocation technique would not be so simple. But he had not anticipated encountering so much trouble from the start. Not only did it disrupt the balance of yin and yang within Ling Xixiu's body, causing the dragon roar of yang energy to erupt, but now her blood surged so strongly that her sweaty body flushed with a blood-red hue. If this continued, both the meridians and blood vessels were likely to be damaged. I can only take it one step at a time. Lu Changsheng let out a deep breath. He took out several talismans and used them on Ling Xixiu to suppress her surging blood. At the same time, he held her pale wrist with one hand, channeling mana into her body to protect her meridians as much as possible. Compared to her blood surging, her meridians and dantian were the biggest concern. Under the backlash of the dragon roar physique and the burning of the dragon roar of yang energy, her meridians and dantian had become extremely fragile. A single misstep could cause problems. For a cultivator, the meridians and dantian are of utmost importance and cannot sustain any damage. Seeing that several forces were barely stabilizing Ling Xixiu's condition, Lu Changsheng immediately accelerated the operation of the dragon invocation technique. He allowed the ferocious flood dragon to bellow and roar, wildly swallowing and plundering the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Xixiu's body, eliciting from her sounds of pain and pleasure. Time ticked away slowly. It was hard to tell how much time had passed. Phew, the dragon roar of yang energy has been barely stabilized. Lu Changsheng saw that the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Xixiu's body gradually calmed down and he breathed a sigh of relief. If it weren't for the profound origin bead providing him with an endless supply of mana, despite the supply of elixir medicines, he wouldn't have been able to stabilize Ling Xixiu's condition while simultaneously harvesting the dragon roar of yang energy with the dragon invocation technique. By this point, Ling Xixiu, throughout this process, had nearly passed out and melted into a puddle of water. Nirvana Art. Lu Changsheng took out a second-rank healing talisman and used it on Ling Xixiu, stopped the dragon invocation technique, and applied the Nirvana Art to her. On one hand, it was to nourish her fragile body and meridians. On the other hand, he also wanted to see how effective the Nirvana Art was in treating Ling Xixiu. After all, the resolution of the dragon roar physique had just begun. The real challenge was still the harvesting of the essence of the dragon roar physique. Once the essence was harvested, it would not only damage Ling Xixiu's foundation, but it was also uncertain what would happen during the process. This stream of origin essence made her tightly closed eyes, her body burning hot, nearly unconscious with no awareness, reminiscent of drinking a refreshing gulp of water on a scorching summer day. A comfortable long chant escaped her throat. Lu Lang, Ling Xixiu's beautiful eyes opened slightly, her gaze helpless and hazy. The recent ordeal had felt like death itself. It was like the time she broke through to Foundation establishment, when the dragon roar physique erupted, and she almost lost her life. However, this time, she could clearly feel that the dragon roar of yang energy within her had indeed slowed down significantly, proving that Lu Changsheng's approach had a certain effect. Xixiu, you should rest well for now, and well proceed with the next step once your body recovers. Lu Changsheng exhaled deeply and spoke. Though the dragon roar of yang energy harvested through the dragon invocation technique had a significant nourishing effect on him, and somewhat improved his 100 refinements treasure body technique, this method of treatment expended a great deal of his mana, energy, and mental effort. After all, such a treatment method really tested a person's mental spirit. During the process, maintaining focus and multitasking without any errors was incredibly challenging. If it weren't for Lu Changsheng's extensive experience and the trials he had undergone, an ordinary person could not have managed to do it. Ling Zixiao softly acknowledged and closed her eyes, exhaustedly falling asleep. Lu Changxing also lay down gently, holding Ling Zixiao, and slowly drifted off to sleep. Chapter 482, Yin Yang Energies Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. _1 Jianghu Mountain, Lu family. This day, Lu Yuanzhong, who had been away, returned. But the news of the Lu family ancestors' return did not fill the family with joy and welcome. Instead, it cast the entire Lu family in white mourning clothes, full of sorrow and grief. 4 months ago, on the orders of the Qingyun sect, Lu Yuanzhong took 9 elders, core members, and elite disciples of his family to participate in the campaign against the Xiahou clan. Now, however, only Lu Yuanzhong and 3 Lu family disciples returned. Furthermore, the family ancestor, Lu Yuanzhong, arrived looking frail and disordered, his face weary and pale. Ancestor. Grandfather, father. Husband. Fenger. Some in the Lu family wept softly, while others wailed in anguish, a picture of profound mourning. Many people, upon seeing Lu Yuanzhong's pale and feeble state, felt a sense of foreboding. The family had lost so many high-ranking members in a single blow, and the Lu family's vitality was greatly damaged. If something were to happen to Lu Yuanzhong, the backbone of the family, then the Lu family of Jianghu Mountain would be finished. Big brother, how could this have happened? Ancestor, why did this battle turn out this way? Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaochang asked with faces full of grief. In the campaign against the Xiahou clan, not only did the Qingyun sect summon several family powers, but also had a nascent soul immortal at the helm. In their view, the battle should have been a crushing victory, if not a total rout. How could it have been so tragic? Alas! Hearing their questions, Lu Yuanzhong let out a heavy sigh. This battle initially went very smoothly. Under the leadership of the Qingyun sect, our family forces easily eradicated the power of the Xiahou house and advanced towards Blackwater Pool. But as we converged at the Blackwater Pool, the clan's earth-shaking formation was unexpectedly upgraded from 2nd rank to 3rd rank. After the earth-shaking formation deployed by the Qingyun sect broke the Xiahu's clan defense, an unexpected event occurred. Lu Yuanzhong spoke slowly, his mind revisiting that battle. That day, after the Xiahou clan's formation at Blackwater Pool had been broken, the army of cultivators stormed into the pool. Then appeared the false core patriarch of the Xiahou, who was not the well-known Xiahou Wuwa. Instead, it was Xiahou Jia, an ancestor of the Xiahou family who was thought to have died long ago. With a long howl from the Xiahou ancestor, 1,000 coffins soared into the sky from Blackwater Pool. Countless zombies burst from the coffins, their malevolent aura pervading the air, their might terrifying. Then the battle commenced. Though most of these zombified Dao soldiers were of average strength, they fought fearlessly and to the death. What was even more shocking was that Xiahou Jia, using these core of undead soldiers, was able to hold his ground against the Qingyun sect's Kaiyan True Immortal. And thus, what should have been an overwhelming victory became a tense struggle. In the end, it was only with the deployment of the Tianluo Fumo formation supporting Kaiyan True Immortal that Xiahou Jia was barely subdued and the battle concluded. As a result, the battle was exceedingly brutal. All of the great families involved suffered casualties. Some family powers had all their members perish at Blackwater Pool. For instance, the Bai family of 100 Birds Lake, who were close to the Lu family, lost their patriarch in this battle. Therefore, his grievous injury was considered lucky. Xiahou family ancestor, Xiahou Jia, necrotic Dao soldiers, hearing Lu Yuanzhong's account, Lu Yuanding and Lu Miaochang felt shocked. They had not expected the Xiahou family to have such deep and dark secrets. The battle was devastatingly brutal. The Bai family patriarch actually died in this conflict. Although the Xiahou family of Blackwater Pool has been wiped out, I've heard that some of the Xiahou elites have escaped. And Xiahou Wuwa, the false core patriarch of the Xiahou family, did not appear throughout the battle, which likely means he fled secretly. Some speculate that they might turn to demon cultivation, causing havoc throughout the Qingyun region, or even seek revenge against our families. Miaochang, make sure to caution all family descendants who are outside, to be extra careful and vigilant against any demon cultivators' disturbances. Lu Yuanzhong said with a pale face. And as he spoke, he couldn't help but cough violently a couple of times. He fought valiantly with the Lu family disciples at Blackwater Pool, where he encountered a flying zombie in the Foundation establishment stage, and was poisoned, damaging his internal organs. If it weren't for his Foundation establishment cultivation, the zombie's poison would have claimed his life. Big brother, how are you feeling? Lu Yuanding immediately expressed concern. I'm afraid I don't have many years left. Lu Yuanzhong shook his head, not hiding the truth. My injury is severe, but if I refrain from fighting, I can hold on for another 10 years. We've earned considerable merit in this battle. Yuan Ding, calculate how many spirit stones the family can mobilize. Then we'll go to the Qingyun sect and exchange them for a Foundation establishment elixir and a few Foundation establishment spirit objects, Lu Yuanzhong said in a deep voice. Now, the Lu family's urgent priority was to have new Foundation establishment cultivators born. Only with the emergence of a new Foundation establishment great cultivator to preside over Qingzhou Mountain could they weather the coming crisis. Ancestor, hearing this, both people's expression turned somber. Being able to hold on for another 10 years as long as he avoided fighting meant that Lu Yuanzhong's condition was very serious. If he were to engage in combat, he might not survive even a year or two. Yuan Ding, Miaochang, don't bother collecting any spiritual medicines for me. During this time, focus all your effort on gathering and purchasing Foundation establishment spirit objects. Our Lu family must have a new Foundation establishment cultivator. Lu Yuanzhong said to the two before him. He was acutely aware of his own condition. Even with elixir medicines and spiritual medicines, it would only be prolonging life for a few more years. This was never a long-term solution. Instead of wasting resources for his own life, it was better to use them all to nurture a new Foundation establishment cultivator. Jiuxiao Immortal City. Inside a cave dwelling. Zixao. Lu Changxing softly called out to Ling Zixiao to signal that he was ready to begin. Chapter 483, Yin-Yang Energies Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. After all this time of recuperation, moistening, and dual cultivation, Ling Zixiao had temporarily stabilized the dragon roar of yang energy within his body. Therefore, he was now about to begin using the dragon invocation technique to start replenishing the origin source of Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique. This was a crucial step. It would also determine whether he could resolve Ling Zixiao's physical condition. Lu Lang. Upon hearing these words, Ling Zixiao's delicate and beautiful jade feet, wrapped in snow-white socks, entwined Lu Changxing. Through their time spent together, she had seen that Lu Changxing was truly dedicated, doing his utmost to heal her. This made her also open her body and mind completely in this respect, without any restraint. Dragon Invocation Technique. Lu Changxing concentrated his mental spirit and activated the cultivation technique. Roar. In an instant, the flood dragon roared as it charged into the secluded pool. Suddenly, a crisp sound of water rippled through the pool, with splashes scattering about. After entering the pool, the flood dragon continued to roam deeper, as if searching for something. After a long while, the flood dragon found its target for this journey. In the depths of the secluded pool, there was a dragon ball. This dragon ball contained vast and domineering power that could transform a person into a dragon. Yet, its presence in the pool caused the master of the pool to wither and dry up continuously. The arrival of the flood dragon was to solve the issue of the dragon ball for the pool's master, to plunder and devour the dragon pearl essence. The flood dragon was not a creature confined to the pool. Once it met wind and rain, it would transform into a dragon. If it could capture the dragon pearl essence, it would greatly benefit the flood dragon's master. Roar. The flood dragon roared at the dragon ball. Due to the overly domineering true dragon force within the dragon ball, the flood dragon did not dare to swallow it directly at the moment. So, It merely attempted a tentative assimilation of the origin source of power from the Dragon Ball. Oh, within this Dragon Ball, a dragon's soul lay dormant. The moment the flood dragon began to assimilate the Dragon Pearl essence, the sleeping dragon's soul immediately awakened, roaring towards the heavens and unleashing a terrifying might. In an instant, the entire secluded pool boiled, the water within churning tumultuously, with the center forming a vortex filled with suction power. At this moment, the owner of the pool also let out a muffled groan of pain. Her crimson body was scorching hot to the touch, and the soles of her feet, wrapped in snow-white socks, were flexed tightly, clearly indicating great pain with the awakening of the dragon's soul. As expected. Seeing this, Lu Changxing inwardly exclaimed with the confirmation of his suspicions. He immediately administered an elixir medicine to Ling Zixiao to suppress the upheaval caused by the awakening of the dragon's soul. When he previously plundered the dragon roar of yang energy, he had speculated that if he were to plunder the origin source of the dragon roar physique, it would likely trigger an outburst of the dragon roar physique. Now it seemed his suspicions were indeed correct. However, he was well prepared. With a raise of his hand, 2 supreme talismans flew towards Ling Zixiao and were activated for her use. These were second-rank supreme talismans, one capable of nurturing the flesh, the other imbued with the profound ice-cold force. Hiss! As the ice power of the talisman spread, the boiling pool water suddenly cooled down. And the flood dragon in the deep pool, at this moment, was caught between cold and heat, causing Lu Changxing, its master, to inhale sharply with a gasp. Seize! With a solemn expression, he grasped Ling Zixiao's wrists with both hands, channeled his mana, and protected her meridians and dantian. At the same time, he executed the dragon invocation technique, allowing the flood dragon to continue absorbing the dragon pearl essence. Roar, 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 the flood dragon bellowed, fierce and domineering, causing a strand of golden origin source to emerge from within the dragon ball. Ao. No sooner had the golden origin source appeared from the dragon ball, than the dragon's soul within it roared to the sky, making the entire dragon ball begin to surge, causing the deep pool to completely boil over. At this moment, Zixiao's head suddenly reared up, her teeth clenched in pain, her body shaking violently. A head of jet-black hair drenched in sweat, wantonly disheveled, allowing a few strands to be caught between her red lips, her sobs and cries stifled. But as the master of the deep pool, she still did her utmost to help the flood dragon suppress the dragon's soul within the dragon ball. Roar! The flood dragon roared again, swallowing the dragon pearl essence in front of it, attempting to seize it. This made the dragon's soul incredibly angry, almost bursting out of the dragon ball. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, in an instant, boundless dragon roar of yang energy spread from the dragon ball, causing the deep pool to seethe and burn, the water nearly evaporating. Under the power of the dragon's soul, Zixiao's whole body trembled as if electrocuted, enduring agony. At this moment, not only her body trembled. Her soul was also shaking continuously. Zixiao's eyes were tightly shut, her eyebrows deeply furrowed, her arches taut, and her 2 delicate white hands gripping the flood dragon's master tightly, as painful, stifled moans escaped from between her lips and teeth. No, I can't hesitate, I must act quickly. Through the force coming from his back, Lu Changxing could feel Zixiao's pain, his face showing an expression of grave concern. Under the outburst of the dragon roar physique, her entire body was boiling, unbearably hot, as if she was about to be consumed by fire. Infinite dragon roar of yang energy erupted from within the depths of her body, burning her flesh, meridians, and dantian. Therefore, he had to quickly seize this strand of dragon roar origin. Then deal with this problem afterwards. Otherwise, not only would this supplementation fail, but it would also cause Zixiao great harm to her vital energy. Healing her afterwards would be even more troublesome. After all, with the dragon roar of yang energy burning her like this, Zixiao did not have much life left. Roar! The flood dragon roared once more, swallowed the dragon pearl essence, then quickly left the deep pool. Pfft! A crisp, muffled sound emerged from within Zixiao's body. causing her to faint, with a trace of bright blood flowing from the corner of her mouth. Not good. Lu Changsheng's mana continued to flow within Zi Xiao's body. Chapter 484, Yin-Yang Energies Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. He knew that under the relentless assault of the replenished origin energy and the dragon roar of yang energy, the opponent's heart meridians had been damaged, showing slight ruptures. At this rate, not just the heart meridians, but all the energy channels throughout the body and the dantian would be compromised. At this very moment, he could no longer afford to be cautious. He directly used several elixir medicines and spirit talismans on Ling Zixiao. In times of critical illness, one must resort to drastic measures. With the power of the elixir medicines and talismans, he enabled Ling Zixiao to cling onto a thread of vitality. So long as there was a thread of vitality, he could use the yin-yang nirvana art, and the life transference technique to bring the patient back from the brink and slowly recover. Time was of the essence in this moment. The elixir medicines and talismans made the unconscious Ling Zixiao moan softly, like a pool of soft water. Roar. At this time, the flood dragon returned with a strand of origin energy seized from the dragon ball. Upon entering Lu Changsheng's body, this strand of dragon roar origin immediately turned into a surge of force, scouring every inch of his flesh and skin. 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art. Feeling the dragon roar origin rampaging in his body, Lu Changsheng immediately activated the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art. Boom boom boom, the sound of raging, river-like blood surged within Lu Changsheng's body. As a foundation establishment cultivator, and having cultivated the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art to the 4th level, merely a strand of dragon roar origin was not enough to impact him greatly. However, as this strand of dragon roar origin reached the Qi Ocean core, buzz, the yin-yang energies orbiting around the yin-yang 5 elements foundation base within Lu Changsheng's Qi Ocean core seemed to resonate. They immediately transformed into a tiny yin-yang fish, swimming towards the dragon roar origin. What's going on here? Lu Changsheng looked baffled. He did not understand what was happening with the yin-yang energies of his foundation base. After all, he had never encountered such a situation before. But then, the yin-yang fish formed by the yin-yang energies swallowed the strand of dragon roar origin in one gulp. Boom boom boom, in an instant, Lu Changsheng felt the dragon roar origin being refined by the yin-yang energies, which slowly increased the yang energy within his yin-yang energies. So that's how it is. Lu Changsheng realized what was happening in his heart. His yin-yang energies could be enhanced through rare yin-yang origin sources. Furthermore, his own yin-yang energies were not perfectly balanced at the moment, with the yang energy being weaker than the yin energy. It was not for any other reason, but simply because the great sun essence of the golden crow elixir he initially consumed was far less profound than Shao Xia's supreme yin moonlight. The reason he was able to maintain balance was entirely due to the spirit-nurturing energy he had obtained from the golden core lady. Now, the strand of dragon roar origin was more compatible with the supreme yin moonlight than the great sun essence. Thus, his yin-yang energies instinctively yearned to consume this strand of dragon roar origin. Meanwhile, as the yin-yang energies digested the dragon roar origin, Lu Changsheng's 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art, at the peak of the 4th level, vibrated intensely and broke through to the 5th level. Boom boom boom, in an instant, Lu Changsheng's blood and qi raged like overflowing rivers and erupting volcanoes, forming a dazzling pillar of rainbow light that soared into the sky and filled the entire cave. His whole body shone brilliantly, illuminated and flashing, with vigorous blood qi and revolving treasure light. It seems that the dragon roar origin is even more beneficial to the male physique. Lu Changsheng felt elated in his heart. He hadn't anticipated that the stimulation from the dragon roar origin would allow his 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art to break through directly. According to his estimates, even with the assistance of the 9 treasure jade rui, a heavenly spiritual treasure for cultivation, it would still have taken him 3 to 4 months to achieve a breakthrough. Now that the 100 Refinements Treasure Body Art has broken through to the 5th level, I can also begin melting the 9 treasure jade rui within my breastbone to forge it into my life-bound treasured bone. Lu Changsheng was thrilled. He had long anticipated this day. But he did not dwell on it. He immediately turned his attention to the currently endangered Ling Zixiao. As he drew essence from the dragon roar physique, causing it to erupt, Ling Zixiao was now on the verge of death, hanging on solely due to the elixir medicines and talismans he had just used to barely maintain her life force. Yin Yang Nirvana Art. Lu Changxing did not hesitate, taking a healing elixir for himself. He grasped the woman's plump waist and executed the Yin Yang Nirvana Art, transferring vital essence into Ling Zixiao's body. At the same time, he activated the life transference technique. The patient's condition was extremely dire. Ravaged by the impact of the dragon roar physique, her body was a mess of chaos and fractures, and her energy channels were all moderately damaged. Simply relying on the Yin Yang Nirvana Art was not enough to stabilize the life force and repair the injuries. If such a price is to be paid for seizing a strand of origin energy, I fear it's going to cost me a significant portion of my lifespan. Lu Changxing held the delicate and sweaty waist, murmuring to himself. He had thought Ling Zixiao's situation would not be too troublesome. Even though he had to stabilize Ling Zixiao's life force using the Yin Yang Nirvana Art and the life transference technique, he assumed it would only take 2 or 3 times at most. But from the current situation, it wasn't nearly that simple. Because every act of seizing Dragon Roar origin presented Ling Zixiao with a life-threatening condition. If I were to refine the 9 treasured jade rui into my life-bound treasured bone and obtain the 9 innate divine abilities, I wonder how effective the healing divine light is. Lu Changxing pondered silently, thinking of the 9 treasured jade rui embedded in his breastbone. This rui contained 9 treasures, each with its own divine ability. The 5th treasure was the healing divine light, which could heal someone's physical body and even their primordial spirit injuries. It might have therapeutic effects on Ling Zixiao's energy channels and Dantian as well. If he could restore a fraction of her energy channels and Dantian, subsequent treatments would become much easier. As Lu Changxing's transferred essence entered her body, Ling Zixiao, currently unconscious and trapped in a dark abyss enduring endless torture, felt as if refreshing springs were flowing into her. It brought a strange sweetness to her enveloping darkness and her nearly broken spirit and body. Chapter 485, Yin Yang Energies Swallow Dragon Roar Origin, Turmoil in Immortal City. _4 Following that, a wisp of warmth emerged, pulling her out of the dark abyss. Through such prolonged companionship and dual cultivation day and night, she knew exactly where this wisp of warmth originated. A feeling of indescribable peace and safety instantly filled her heart. Zixiao, hold on. Lu Changxing noticed that Ling Zixiao had regained some consciousness and spoke in a deep voice. As he finished speaking, his hands then grasped the supple and slick thighs of the beauty, and her jade feet wrapped in snowy white stockings. He poured life into her forcefully and steadily, stabilizing the situation within her body. Ling Zixiao tried to speak. But her consciousness was blurred, and her body felt numb and powerless, leaving her unable to open her mouth. She could only let out a gentle nasal hum, soft and coquettish. Just as Lu Changxing was healing Ling Zixiao with the techniques of Yin Yang Nirvana and life transference technique. But suddenly, above Jianghu Immortal City, the 5-colored aurora that enveloped the city was intensifying rapidly. Colorful runes, like fish, were spreading throughout the aurora, emitting strong mana fluctuations. What's happening? This is the 5 extreme celestial formation of the celestial city. Why would the formation suddenly become fully operational? Inside the city, many cultivators who witnessed this scene immediately cried out in alarm. Whether it was the marketplace or the celestial city, the formations are normally operated at the lowest possible consumption level. They were only fully activated in the face of significant events. Otherwise, even a 3rd-rank spirit vein would struggle to sustain the operation of a 3rd-rank great formation indefinitely. After all, the amount of spiritual energy consumed by the cultivators in the city each day is no small figure. The sudden full-scale operation of the formation, closing off the celestial city, looks problematic no matter how one sees it. Especially for those robber cultivators, heretic cultivators, and demon cultivators who were hiding their identities in the city. At this moment, they were somewhat panicked. Everyone, do not be afraid. Today the Celestial City has activated the formation solely to suppress the demon cultivators. Do not wander around or move about recklessly. An icy, domineering, and majestic voice rose, spreading throughout the entire Jianghu Immortal City. As soon as the words fell, many heavenly sword sect cultivators suddenly appeared, surrounding courtyards, cavern dwellings, and buildings. Boom, boom, boom. In a short while, explosions from spells and collisions of magic artifacts were heard within a building. Some courtyards and buildings, amidst the fighting, collapsed directly into ruins. Whoosh, a streak of rainbow light flew out. Although Jianghu Immortal City had a ban on flying, this restriction was not strong enough to prevent nascent soul immortals from flying. It only made flight more difficult and more exhausting. However, at that very instant, a sword light with a sharp edge slashed out. This sword seemed as if it came from beyond the ninth heaven, almost instantly emerging like a skyward explosion. It forced the nascent soul immortal to hastily operate his magical treasure. Due to the hurried response, he spat out blood under the sword light. Boom, 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 various sounds started echoing within the celestial city. 7 or 8 streaks of rainbow light appeared. These were either false core immortals or nascent soul immortals. Not good. The heavenly sword sect has discovered us. When did this happen? These streaks of light were all nascent soul immortals. Facing such a fierce onslaught, their complexions were incredibly grim at this moment. They had not expected that their prolonged concealment within Jianghu Immortal City would be detected by the heavenly sword sect. You demonic brats, did you really think that we at the heavenly sword sect were oblivious to your actions all this time? A cold and domineering voice rang out. There appeared a middle-aged man dressed in a black magical robe. He stood tall and straight, the whole of him like a divine sword with its edge fully revealed, giving off a bone-chilling sharpness upon sight. Heavenly exterminating sword, Yun Jianfeng. Now, as Xianjian true monarch is locked in battle with the 2 great true monarchs of Jin Kingdom, how could you be here? Someone recognizing the middle-aged man felt a chill in their heart and spoke in a deep voice. Heavenly exterminating sword, Yun Jianfeng. Core formation late stage. Moreover, he had congealed a superior gold core, ranked as the foremost among heavenly sword sect members under the nascent soul true lord Li Duanshuan, his strength immensely astonishing. Since our sect's supreme elder dares to accept the challenge, naturally there's no fear, and there's no need for my presence. It's better here, to cut down all you jumping clowns and teach the forces behind you a lesson. Yun Jianfeng's voice was as cold and domineering as the tip of a sword, piercing into the hearts of others. As the voice died away, buzz, above the immortal city, the 5 extreme celestial formations circulated with 5-colored radiance, a vast, ocean-like mana surged. Immediately afterward, an enormous tide of sword light appeared, like the Milky Way pouring down from the 9 heavens, killing its way towards those nascent soul immortals. Run! Hurry and run! Everyone, join forces to break the formation. Seeing this spectacle, all the nascent soul immortals turned pale, shouting out, wanting to flee the Jianghu Immortal City. Within the city, not only was there the bane that was Yun Jianfeng, but also nascent soul immortals overseeing the celestial city formation, along with other false core immortals. In such a predicament, should they continue fighting, defeat was certain. Besides, these people were not united in purpose, each harboring their own agendas. Xiao Chan, go! In the crowd, Nangong Meili saw this scene and didn't dare to hesitate, forming hand seals, and a purple jade spider with numerous pairs of eyes appeared. Her enchanting figure landed on the purple jade spider's back, and with a grab toward Meng Xiaochan, she flew towards the gate of the immortal city. Thinking of leaving. The man in the black robe, Yun Jianfeng, looked at the nascent soul immortals before him, his expression cold and domineering. A black magical sword appeared in his hands, slashing fiercely forward. In an instant, a tyrannical sword light cleaved out, tearing open the void, forcing a nascent soul immortal to parry defensively. And in that instant, boom! The great formation above the immortal city surged with another vicious tide of sword light, weaving into a sword chi net, gathering layer by layer, attempting to suppress the nascent soul immortal. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, several heavenly sword sect false core immortals and foundation establishment cultivators arrived, aiming to capture the nascent soul immortal locked within the sword net. Boom! Yun Jianfeng stood tall and straight, his figure upright like a sword, standing firm in the void, his gaze electric. Seeing Nangong Meili standing on the purple jade spider ahead, he fiercely slashed with the sword in his hand. Immediately, a black sword chi dazzled forth, filled with an annihilating aura, as if cleaving through the dawn of creation. Hiss hiss hiss, on seeing this, Nangong Meili produced a purple flute, and endless purple streams surged, seeking to block this annihilating sword chi. And the purple jade spider spat out strands of purple, crystal clear silk, weaving into a large net. But the next moment. Boom! The great formation above the immortal city circulated with five-colored aura, its might surging. A dense mass of sword light turned into a net of sword chi, killing its way toward Nangong Meili. It was clear that the array master upholding the immortal city formation was coordinating with Yun Jianfeng. Whoever Yun Jianfeng sought to kill, he would swiftly act to suppress, an offensive so overwhelming it left one virtually unable to defend. Meili. At this time, not far off, a tall, majestic-looking middle-aged man exuding an aura of menace saw the scene and immediately showed worry, shouting loudly. He immediately gave up fleeing, with a dark red greatsword magic artifact appearing in his hands. He actively slashed toward the sword chi net in the sky to break it open for Nangong Meili. Chapter 486, Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. Wuxia Xianxia's face was ferocious, with black hair wildly flying above his head. In his hand, a blood-red greatsword swung, and a sea of blood emerged. The boundless sea of blood surged with a terrifying might, attacking the net of sword chi in the sky that shimmered with five-colored radiance. Boom! The collision between the sea of blood and the sword net instantly caused a loud explosion and dreadful waves of mana. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The waves of this impact swept in all directions, nearly shattering the house buildings and white jade stone slabs surrounding the immortal city. Even in the immortal city, where buildings and floors were made from special materials, they couldn't possibly withstand the aftermath of a battle between nascent soul immortals. Suppress. In just an instant, a majestic and profound voice rose. Winds whipped up from all directions, and an invisible barrier formed, suppressing and calming the terrible afterwaves. Heavenly Sword Sect dared to make a move within Jianghu Immortal City, naturally considering various aspects and not allowing the battle aftermath to spread wantonly. Otherwise, such a battle at the nascent soul level would reduce even the Immortal City to ruins. Moreover, there were countless cultivators inside the Immortal City. If they allowed nascent soul immortals to fight unrestrained, just the aftershocks alone could kill who knows how many energy-refining cultivators. Let's go. Nangong Meili, upon seeing this scene, didn't hesitate in the slightest. Taking Meng Xiaochan with her, she commanded the purple jade spider underneath to continue their assault toward the immortal city's main gate. Heh. Yun Jianfeng witnessed the scene and let out a sneer. He didn't care about the fleeing Nangong Meili. His magical sword in hand, he slashed forward, emitting a black sword chi. An endless aura of eradication surged forth, aiming to kill the still struggling Xianxiangshan against the great net of sword chi. If the opponent was seeking death on their own, he had no qualms about obliging them. As for Nangong Meili and the others, with the celestial city formation activated and fully sealed, these people were like turtles in a jar. He merely needed to defeat them one by one. Should he demonstrate excessive power, causing these people to fall into despair, they might band together, or even wreak havoc in the immortal city. This was something he did not wish to see. Ha! Xianxiangshan, seeing the annihilating sword chi coming at him, his face darkened. True elixir mana surged through his body, and a fearsome and powerful black armor materialized around him, his body emanating waves of ominous energy. He took a deep breath, drawing in the air and spiritual energy from all around into his abdomen. With a rumbling sound, his abdomen pulsed, and out of his nostrils spread two dragon-like breaths. Roar, immediately afterward, rapid, violent, domineering, surging, and sharp breaths burst forth from his body. This noise resembled the thunderous sound of thousands of troops in battle and countless fierce birds and beasts howling, an eruption like that of a volcano exploding, sweeping in all directions. Boom, 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 the hurricane rose abruptly, and the visible sound waves surged out from Xianxiangshan as the epicenter, laying waste in every direction. Pavilions, terraces, shops, and storefronts collapsed under this impact. And on the streets, many people within these shops turned pale with pain, some spewing fresh blood and bursting apart. Xianxiangshan had become a nascent soul immortal for a reason. He was certainly not foolish. Knowing the situation was dire, he realized he had no chance against Yun Jianfeng and the Celestial City formation. Rather than wait for execution, he might as well act in this manner, preventing them from using their full strength against him, and by Nangong melee some time. Whoosh, 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 the might of the Celestial City formation surged, and the cultivators from the Heavenly Sword sect also formed their arrays, taking positions around, quelling this wave of sound and mana. Demon head, you're courting death. Yun Jianfeng, seeing this scene, glared fiercely, his expression turned grave. In the void, instantly appeared numerous black sword chi with a chilling killing intent and an aura of eradication. The sword chi was dense and overwhelming, like a boundless ocean, racing towards Xianxiangshan. Before this, he hadn't used his full force against these people, thinking of it like a cat playing with a mouse. He wanted them to see hope, to scatter like sand, each fleeing for their lives. But now, Xianxiangshan's actions had ignited a wave of anger in him. Humming, Xianxiangshan, seeing the unstoppable tide of sword chi breaking through the air and knowing he couldn't avoid it, rapidly formed seals with his hands. His insides rumbled loudly as though a fierce beast was awakening. The black armor on his body showed the phantom of a black jiao snake, fierce and dreadful, coiling around him. Clang, 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 the black sword chi arrived, striking the phantom black jiao snake surrounding his body, causing sparks to fly and creating a symphony of clashing metals. In the process, the solid jiao snake phantom visibly weakened and dimmed. The killing intent was like the wind, the sword chi like the tide, continuously relentless, pulsing back and forth. Myriad manifestations. Xianxiangshan, enduring the endless sword chi, had a ferocious look, eyes spewing out black flames resembling glazing, and he roared loudly. With the blood-red greatsword, he broke through the net of sword chi and slashed forward fiercely. His slash carried a domineering might, sweeping across heaven and earth with a boundless sea of blood, accompanied by ghostly wails and wolf howls. Boom, 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 the boundless sea of blood sought to tear through the tide of black sword chi. But the black sword chi was inexhaustible and visible to the naked eye. It tore through the sea of blood. Suppress. At the same time, a tremendous voice resounded between heaven and earth. Above the immortal city, with the great formation's five-colored radiance diffusing, a five-colored rainbow, akin to a celestial pillar, shot down at Xianxiangshan, its might astonishing. Facing Yun Jianfeng's offensive and already near his limit, Xianxiangshan's expression instantly turned extremely grim. With a fierce look, the mana surged within his body, and the phantom of the jiao snake on his black armor raised its head to howl, rocketing towards the sky to charge at the pillar of light. But the jiao snake, already greatly weakened by the black sword chi attack, had its power damaged. Confronted with the five-colored celestial pillar, it let out a mournful cry and disintegrated into ashes, shattering in the void. Chapter 487, Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. Pooh! The illusion of the flood dragon shattered, immediately whitening Xianxiangshan's face as he spat out fresh blood. At the same time, the boundless sea of blood he had unleashed was annihilated by the black sword chi in that instant. The endless black sword chi instantly engulfed Xianxiangshan, causing his protective magical treasures to crack and his armor to splinter, with sparks flying off. Immediately after, his body boom flew backward, smashing into the ground and creating a deep crater. Blood spurted from his eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, a truly pitiful sight. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Seeing this, the Heavenly Sword Sect disciples who were skirmishing nearby immediately took action, forming an array to suppress and capture Xiang Xiangshan. "Meili, this is all I can do for you," Xiang Xiangshan said under the pressure of the force, with his muscles crackling and limbs unable to bear the strength, motionless and showing an expression of agony. He lifted his head slightly, gazing into the distance. Looking at Nangong Meili, who had already escaped on a purple jade spider, his eyes shone with a fascinated and satisfied light. He felt that being able to buy so much time for Nangong Meili was worth it. At this very moment, Nangong Meili and the others had already reached the gates of Immortal City, hitting the great formation in front of them together, trying to break through the prohibitions and escape. But with the third-rank Great Formation fully activated, sealing off the entire Immortal City, even with several nascent soul immortals attacking together, it was impossible to break through the formation instantly. Fellow cultivators, stop holding back. Right now, we can only break through if we combine our efforts. Otherwise, if we keep this up, we'll all be finished here, one of them said. I possess a magical treasure named the Ban-Breaking All, which can break prohibitions and formation. It has a certain effect on breaking through the Great Formation, said a cultivator wearing a gray robe, with gray hair and a gloomy face. He quickly produced a purple gold awl. Indeed, no matter what happened before, now we must find a way to break through the Great Formation. I have a third-order ban-breaking talisman that can be used to break the prohibitions of a Great Formation. I possess a divine skill called the Great Inversion Divine Power, which can overturn mountains and rivers, affect the ley lines, and is useful for breaking formations. Once this power succeeds, it can disrupt the operation of this local heaven and earth, making the formation weak, another person declared. Seeing how quickly two nascent soul immortals were suppressed and captured, the others spoke up one after another. They knew they were trapped like turtles in a jar. Only by working together to find a way to break the formation was there a sliver of hope for escape. Otherwise, the outcome awaiting them was nothing but capture and suppression. Take action. Deciding quickly, the cultivators began to operate. A nascent soul immortal and a false core immortal flew up into the sky, acting separately, unleashing their divine skills and magical treasures at the buildings and cultivators of Immortal City. By doing this, they forced the Heavenly Sword Sect to use the power of the Great Formation to protect these buildings and cultivators. The others used their divine skills to hinder the Heavenly Sword Sect cultivators and to attack the formation, looking to blast open a tiny thread of life. Boom, 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 under the assault of the divine skills and magical treasures, countless pavilions, terraces, and grand buildings collapsed and exploded, turning into ruins. Many energy-refining cultivators and even some Foundation establishment cultivators were obliterated under the devastating onslaught, their flesh and bones turning to mush. When immortals fight, mortals suffer. In front of nascent soul immortals, let alone energy-refining cultivators, even those at the Foundation establishment stage could hardly resist. And at this moment, this nascent soul immortal was destroying unrestrainedly. Looking for death. Yun Jianfeng's face turned icy with murderous intent upon witnessing this. What he was seeing was the last thing he wanted to observe. He transmitted his divine sense, instructing the true person managing the formation to isolate heaven and earth with the formation, suppress all sides, and for the Heavenly Sword Sect disciples to evacuate the populace and to seal off the surroundings. He himself, meanwhile, gripped a black killing sword and charged at a demon path false core cultivator. The magical sword glowed black and dazzling, and with a slice, a fierce black dragon emerged that roared fearsomely and tore through the void, making onlookers' mental spirits tremble. Boom! Seeing this, the demon path false core immortal immediately placed a gourd magical treasure in front of him, spewing water and fire to form various barriers, blocking this assault. At the same time, he looked to the others for help, hoping they would assist. After all, he was just a lowly false core. If he had to face Yun Jianfeng alone, he feared he would be suppressed within one round. Moreover, Yun Jianfeng was clearly filled with murderous intent at the moment. Killing a person was far simpler than capturing and suppressing them. Other golden cores and false cores seeing this exchanged glances, each unleashing their magical treasures and divine skills, moving to assist. Some directly attacked the buildings and cultivators inside the city, hoping to distract Yun Jianfeng. Evil creature, die by my hand. Returns in Yun Jianfeng's eyes sparkled like lightning, mana from his golden core surged within, and he transformed into an unparalleled magical sword that could pierce the heavens. Countless annihilating sword chi emerged around him, dense and covering the sky like a tidal dragon surging through the void, annihilating everything. Boom, 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 the myriad sword chi in the void tore through all the assaulting forces like a tidal wave. Simultaneously, the demon path false core, whose face had turned pale blocking the black dragon's sword light, coughed up blood and his body split in two, dying instantly. This assault attacked not only the physical body but also contained the supreme power of the golden core, oppressing the soul and leaving him wholly unable to resist. Is this the power of a golden core true person? The Juejin sword, Yun Jianfeng. The others, seeing this, had unsightly expressions. It was horrifying. Yun Jianfeng's power was terrifying. They had all just acted together to block him, but Yun Jianfeng alone had broken through all their assaults. And he had instantly slain a false core true person. At this rate, all of them would die here. Chapter 488, Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. Kill, even if I die, I want to take a few with me. Another nascent soul immortal from the demon path, seeing the situation, had a fierce expression and sacrificed a small mountain magical treasure, carrying the power of landslides and earth splits, and directly smashed it towards Wuxia Mountain in the center of the Immortal City. He wanted to use this method to influence and destroy the spirit vein beneath the Immortal City. After all, the third-rank spirit vein and the main vein were located right below Wuxia Mountain. If Wuxia Mountain collapsed, the entire Immortal City's spirit vein would also be affected. Subdue. The voice of the true person in charge of the Celestial City formation was magnificent, causing a five-colored rainbow light to immediately fall from the sky, enveloping the small mountain magical treasure and intercepting it. Kill. Yun Jianfeng's expression was cold, his killing intent was chilling, and his black magical sword swung in his hand. Pfft. A domineering, all-annihilating burst of sword chi exploded into existence in the void. This demonic path false core, just after sacrificing his magical treasure, with his body affected by the great formation of the Immortal City, was unconsciously severed in two by this sword chi. A look of astonishment appeared on his face. He had no idea how this sword chi had appeared or how he had died. Everyone present who witnessed this scene felt a chill in their hearts and their hair stood on end. One sword. Just one sword and a nascent soul immortal had died just like that. He died so easily. This was not just the difference between the initial stage of core formation and the late stage of core formation. It was also the gap between true elixir and golden core. Today, all of you will pay the price. Yun Jianfeng's expression was indifferent, showing no mercy as his killing sword continued to slash towards others. Stop him quickly, my great inversion divine power is about to be complete, shouted another nascent soul immortal who was casting a divine skill. But now, only two nascent soul immortals remained at his side. The rest were all false core and foundation establishment cultivators. Under such circumstances, who would dare to take action? They could only continue to bombard the great formation with all their might. Heavenly Spider, go! Nangong Mili saw this scene, bit her silver teeth, and let her purple jade spider rush out. Now that the other two were fully focused on breaking the formation, she could only step in and delay Yun Jianfeng. Hiss hiss hiss, this purple jade spider, with 12 pairs of eyes emitting a demonic luster, spat out a clear and translucent purple web, aiming to seal off this part of the void. Immediately afterward, Nangong Mili slapped her spiritual beast bag, and 6 spirit snakes and a dense swarm of poison bees flew out. These 6 spirit snakes and poison bees did not fly towards Yun Jianfeng but scattered in all directions. Woo woo woo, she also blew her purple jade flute, emitting an invisible wave of mana. Upon hearing this sound, the purple jade spider, spirit snakes, and poison bees all began to increase in strength. Especially the purple jade spider, which grew from human size to a height of a zhang, its body radiating purple light that was daunting to the soul. Humph. Yun Jianfeng saw this scene and snorted coldly, his face disdainful. A fierce and domineering burst of black sword chi was slashed out, instantly reducing the large web spun by the purple jade spider in front of him to dust. Meanwhile, sword lights imbued with terrifying might slashed toward the 6 spirit snakes. These 6 spirit snakes were all second-rank demon beasts. Moreover, they were poisonous beasts nurtured through secret techniques, superior to ordinary demon beasts. But facing the 6 black sword lights, they were sliced into 2, blood splattering everywhere, as they died instantly. Nangong Mili's face turned pale at this scene. Though these spirit snakes were not her life-bound poisonous beasts, they were still spiritually connected to her. Now that all were slain, it had a significant impact on her. However, she also knew that at this moment, this was the only way to delay Yun Jianfeng. She blew her jade flute, scattering the poisonous bees, intending to wreak havoc in the Immortal City, forcing the Celestial City formation to act against the bees. Whoosh! But the very next moment, a black sword chi filled with annihilating and devastating might shot straight at her. Hiss hiss hiss, the purple jade spider was enveloped in a sinister purple glow, looking vicious and dreadful, its 12 pairs of eyes striking terror, as it spat out webs one after another. Its 8 legs, like spears, shone with a frightful and crystalline sharpness. Puff, under the annihilating black sword chi, the web was turned to ash and dust. The sword chi burst forth again, keen and tyrannical, obliterating all in its path, forcing the purple jade spider to thrust its legs sharply forward like deadly spears. Clang clang clang. Aoo. The crystalline sharp spider spears, when faced with the sword chi, were severed one by one, causing the purple jade spider to reveal a look of agonized wailing. Puff. Another fierce and tyrannical black sword light tore through the sky, slicing the fearsome, vast body of the purple jade spider in 2. Its crystalline, translucent purple blood spattered forth. Puff. Nangong Mili, who was in the midst of playing her jade flute, immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, her complexion pale and feeble. This purple jade spider was her life-bound heavenly spider, deeply connected to her existence. Now that it had been slain by Yun Jianfeng, she too had sustained severe injuries. The Juejin sword, Yun Jianfeng, how terrifying. Nangong Mili's countenance was ghastly. This purple jade spider was a 3rd-rank poisonous beast. And it had just had its strength temporarily boosted under her technique stimulation. Yet it was still slain by Yun Jianfeng with 3 strikes. Such power was simply despairing. Old Yen, is your divine power ready yet? Nangong Mili's face was ashen as she looked towards the nascent soul immortal, who was casting a great divine power to break the formation, and called out. Now that she had used her life-bound heavenly spider to delay Yun Jianfeng. If it was still not enough, she would not continue to stand in the way of her own death. Because to kill her, Yun Jianfeng would need at most 2 strikes. Inversion. Rise. The nascent soul immortal, referred to as Old Yen, did not speak. He slapped his chest fiercely, then let out a feeble, long whistle. Chapter 489, Cackling Rampage, Self-Detonation of the True Elixir. _4 array flags fluttered all over, magical beads rotated, core formation mana surged wildly within, stirring the winds and clouds of heaven and earth. In an instant. Boom boom boom. The entire Immortal City, at this moment, seemed to violently shake. Following that, the white jade floor beneath the feet of the one called Old Ghost Yen shattered, the fracture spreading like a spider web, continuously extending around. At the same time, this patch of ground began to slowly rise. Great inversion divine power. A divine skill only nascent soul immortals could display. It could turn mountains upside down, break formations, kill enemies, affect ley lines, and for a brief period, break the small world formed by a third-rank Great Formation. Although it wasn't as terrifying as the earth-shaking formation, which could directly destroy the foundation of a ley line, its might was still quite astonishing. Suppress. The celestial city formation, which isolated heaven and earth, frantically surged with pent-up five-colored clouds, attempting to suppress this divine power. Now. Old Ghost Yan's eyes suddenly opened wide, his pupils filled with bloodshot veins, his expression somewhat fierce as he shouted loudly. As his words fell, everyone attacked the formation before them without holding back. Break the law spike. Break the band talisman. Heavenly thunder pearl. Divine skills and magical treasures, talismans and strange artifacts bombarded the immortal city furiously, seeking to blast open a rift and escape the immortal city. Under the influence of the great inversion divine power, this small world, which was self-contained, became disrupted, leading to a weak spot in the formation before them, and immediately a crack blasted open. It's open, it's broken through. Go. Hurry up, it won't be long before this crack restores itself. No one dared to delay, wanting to take the chance to escape right now. Thinking of fleeing? It's not that easy. Yun Jianfeng watched this scene and let out a cold snort. With a single sword strike, sword light dazzled heaven and earth, as if a cataclysm had descended, filling the space with countless destructive dark gases, blocking the crack that had appeared in the Great Formation. If one wished to escape the Great Formation through the crack, they would have to endure his sword chi. This sword chi would kill any ordinary Foundation establishment cultivator upon contact. He held the killing sword, continuing to pursue the three nascent soul cultivators before him. Demonic disintegration technique. In the distance, Xianxia, who was captured and suppressed by the Heavenly Sword sect, was now covered in blood red, his veins bulging, his flesh etched with blood-colored runes. Melee, run. He suddenly let out a long howl, rising into the sky, shockingly choosing to self-destruct his true elixir. No good. Even Yun Jianfeng's expression changed upon witnessing this scene. Unexpectedly, Xianxia had some sort of secret technique that allowed him, at the expense of his life, to break the seal and suppression, and execute the true elixir self-destruction technique. You should know, in the cultivation world, there is a saying that nascent soul cultivators and above can carry a wisp of soul with them after death, reincarnating and cultivating anew in the future, awakening their previous wisdom. But once one chose to self-destruct, the true elixir, physical body, and soul would be instantaneously obliterated, leaving no trace in the world, with no chance for reincarnation. Thus, very few nascent soul cultivators would choose to self-destruct their true elixir. However, the power of such self-destruction was indeed tremendously shocking, even for Yun Jianfeng, a golden core true person, who also had to retreat a fair distance. Sword sealing the heavens and earth. His black magical sword slashed, countless sword chi filled the air around him, sealing the void around Xianxia to prevent his self-destruction from causing too much damage to the immortal city. Meanwhile, the true person presiding over the celestial city formation, at this moment, also fully operated the immortal city to seal the void and suppress the power of Xianxia's self-destruction. Boom! The next moment, Xianxia executed the true elixir self-destruction technique, causing the entire immortal city to resound with an earth-shattering explosion. And Nangong Meili and others took this opportunity to break through Yun Jianfeng's sword chi seal, escaping from Zhouxiao immortal city through the minute crack. Chapter 490, Enhancement of Yin-Yang Energies, a Premonition of War. _1 in a cave dwelling. What kind of demon cultivator is this, creating such a commotion in immortal city? Lu Changsheng was employing the yin-yang nirvana art, trying to save Ling Zixio's life and heal her injuries. When he heard the explosive noise outside that shook heaven and earth, his heart skipped a beat. He had no idea what was happening in immortal city. Earlier, he had heard a grand and vast voice. It announced that Immortal City had activated the formation to suppress a demon cultivator. But the commotion caused by this suppression of a demon cultivator truly felt astonishing to him. I hope it won't affect us here. Lu Changsheng looked at the fair and voluptuous body in front of him, exhaled softly, and dared not to be too distracted. He continued to concentrate, using talismans and mana to arrange the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Xixiu's body while applying the yin-yang nirvana art and life transference technique to nourish her flesh and warm her meridians and dantian. Underneath the earth-shattering explosive noise, Ling Xixiu's hazy consciousness also gained some clarity. However, her condition was still extremely poor. She felt frail and weak all over, extraordinarily feeble. She could only rely on the continuous life force from Lu Changsheng to suit the backlash of the dragon roar physique. And so, time passed by bit by bit. It wasn't much longer. Ling Zixiao moaned softly, her body trembling violently. Though her delicate body was still powerless, like a pile of soft mud and water. She was no longer so frail and in danger. Phew. Seeing that Ling Xixiu's condition had finally stabilized, Lu Changsheng let out a sigh of relief. Ha! He gave a firm shout, activated his cultivation technique, and began the final stabilizing treatment. After a while, when the last wave of treatment was finished, Lu Changsheng's face showed exhaustion and fatigue. After all, such high-intensity treatment not only consumed physical and mental spirit but also drained the essence and lifespan from his origin source. Lu Lang Ling Xixiu's beautiful face was flushed, her eyes misty. She propped up her slender arm and wrapped it around Lu Changsheng's neck, offering a kiss. Before this, although she and Lu Changsheng were partners, it was, to put it bluntly, a trade of interests. It was purely transactional, devoid of any emotions. Her intimate actions with Lu Changsheng were simply because she found him physically appealing. Thinking that her life was not long, and she had yet to experience this aspect, she tried to accept it. After all, the two would have to solve the problems of the dragon roar physique through dual cultivation, which inevitably meant reaching this level of intimacy sooner or later. But now, after these days of blissful love and brushes with death, her attitude towards Lu Changsheng had changed. It was no longer pure transactional or a trade of interests. Under the backlash of the dragon roar physique, with endless yang energy burning her body, her consciousness became hazy, sinking into an abyss of endless darkness. Lu Changsheng, consuming the life of his origin source, pulled her from that abyss, stirring up inexplicable feelings deep within her heart. This burgeoning sentiment made her view Lu Changsheng with a bit more sincerity. As long as Lu Changsheng did not let her down and could solve the issues of the dragon roar physique, even if he was a flower-picking fiend cultivator, she would accept him. TSK, Lu Changsheng, faced with Ling Xixiu's kiss, warmly reciprocated. He knew that a woman, after going through such an ordeal, would be much more emotional. It was a good opportunity to build their relationship. After all, although they were partners, their relationship was like boarding the carriage first and buying the ticket later, lacking an emotional foundation. Thus, to have her sincerely become the mother of his child, it was natural to foster these emotions. Their necks entwined, they kissed with smacking sounds, like a pair of newlyweds, affectionate and loving. After a good while, equivalent to half a cup of tea's time, their lips finally parted reluctantly. Zi Xiao, how do you feel about your condition now? Lu Changsheng asked softly, caressing every inch of the soft and delicate snowy back of the beautiful woman beside him. He could tell that Ling Zixiao was stable now but still extremely weak. As for the condition of the dragon roar physique, he had no idea. He didn't know how the bit of dragon roar origin that he had harvested with the dragon invocation technique had affected Ling Zixiao. The benefits or detriments it could bring. Ling Zixiao remained silent upon hearing this. She closed her eyes, quietly sensing the changes in her dragon roar physique. After a long while, she opened her beautiful eyes, showing a hint of joy. Lu Lang, my dragon roar physique has been temporarily suppressed. Oh. Lu Changsheng raised his eyebrows in surprise upon hearing this. He hadn't expected it to be suppressed so easily. However, Ling Xixiu's brows furrowed slightly as she continued, but I feel that the dragon roar physique is simply using the continuously dissipating dragon roar yang energy to repair the lost origin source. Once the dragon roar origin that you've harvested is restored, I'm afraid the endless outflow of dragon roar yang energy will resume. Ling Zixiao nestled into Lu Changsheng's embrace, her voice weak and feeble. The dragon roar physique constantly emitted dragon roar yang energy as her cultivation level and strength increased. This stream of yang energy not only caused an imbalance in her yin and yang but was also incessantly burning her meridians and dantian. Now, with Lu Changsheng having harvested and plundered a strand of dragon roar origin, the outflow of yang energy from her dragon roar physique had been slowed. But as soon as the origin source of her dragon roar physique recovered, it would be like before, continuously emitting dragon roar yang energy, withering her meridians and life. The origin source of a spiritual body can actually repair itself? Lu Changsheng was somewhat astonished when he heard this. As far as he knew, it was very difficult to replenish a damaged origin source of a spiritual body. He hadn't expected that Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique could actually heal itself after he had harvested a strand of its origin source. Chapter 491, Yin-Yang Energies Enhancement, Prelude to War. This is indeed quite astonishing. Is this a feature of the dragon roar physique? Or did I absorb too little of the dragon roar origin source? Lu Changsheng was puzzled in his heart. He did not dwell on it and continued to ask, Xiao, how long will it take for your dragon roar physique to recover on its own? If the dragon roar physique could constantly recover, and quickly at that, it would be troublesome. Because this absorption had made Ling Zixiao's body extremely weak. Even with the nirvana art and the life transference technique, these two secret techniques, she would not be able to withstand another absorption by the dragon invocation technique in a short period of time. She must recuperate well, wait for her vital energy to recover, before she could undergo a second absorption. I'm not too clear on this either, maybe a year, possibly half a year. Ling Zixiao lightly shook her head and spoke softly. Half a year, a year. Hearing this, Lu Changsheng's brows furrowed slightly. Based on his estimation, for Ling Zixiao to recuperate her body, it would take at least 3 to 4 months, or even half a year. By that progress, Ling Zixiao's dragon roar physique would also have more or less recovered. Under such circumstances, it would be very difficult for him to completely absorb and plunder the origin source of the dragon roar physique. It's uncertain how many times he would need to absorb to completely plunder the dragon roar origin source. True, each strand of dragon roar origin source was beneficial to him. But the issue was that each absorption of the dragon roar origin source, the eruption of the dragon roar physique, would bring a life-threatening danger to Ling Zixiao. To stabilize Ling Zixiao's vitality, he needed to pay a huge price and consume lifespan. So, he could not keep solving Ling Zixiao's problem in this manner. After all, he was just a foundation establishment cultivator. With only over 200 years of lifespan. If too much of his lifespan was lost, it would affect other aspects of his life as well. Now that I've broken through the 5th layer of the 100 Refinements treasure body art, as long as I refine the 9 treasured jade rui into my life-bound treasured bone and obtain the 9 great divine abilities, perhaps I can treat Xiao's condition with the healing divine light, Lu Changsheng pondered. The biggest problem with Ling Zixiao under the backlash of the dragon roar physique was the withering and fragility of her meridians and dantian. If he could nourish and restore Ling Zixiao's body, meridians, and dantian, then, by using the dragon invocation technique to absorb the dragon roar origin source, she would not face a life or death situation from the backlash. Thus, he wouldn't need to pay such a high price to extend Ling Zixiao's life. He could use heavenly and earthly treasures in other ways to let Ling Zixiao gradually recover. Don't worry. In the time to come, you take good care of yourself, recover well. Whatever elixir medicines you need, I will concoct them for you directly. Lu Changsheng said, as he embraced Ling Zixiao in his arms. Lu Lang, if I consume too many spiritual medicines and heavenly and earthly treasures to nourish my body and meridians during this period, I'm afraid it will hasten the recovery of the dragon roar physique. Ling Zixiao pursed her lips and confided to Lu Changsheng about the characteristics of the dragon roar physique. She had broken through to foundation establishment many years ago. But her cultivation level had not advanced one bit. she was still at the first level of Foundation establishment. On one hand, the backlash from the dragon roar physique when breaking through to Foundation establishment caused her meridians and dantian to wither, making it difficult to cultivate. On the other hand, she dared not cultivate. If she cultivated, or even consumed elixir medicines and spiritual medicines, it would cause the dragon roar physique to absorb these energies, converting them into the dragon roar of yang energy. The more dragon roar of yang energy in her body, the more vigorous it became, making the withering of her meridians and lifespan faster. This is also why she only purchased cold and yin spiritual medicines and heavenly and earthly treasures from others. Because only cold and yin spiritual medicines and treasures would not be absorbed by the dragon roar physique. They could suppress the dragon roar of yang energy. Hiss. Lu Changxing took in a deep breath, feeling that the dragon roar physique was really troublesome. In that case, a great number of spirit pills and spiritual medicines could not be used on Ling Zixiao. He could only try to find more cold and yin attribute elixir medicines and spiritual medicines. He exhaled gently and comforted her in a soft voice, "Don't worry, with me here, I'll find a way." Upon hearing these words, an unprecedentedly sweet sense of security surged in Ling Zixiao's heart. On her journey, she had experienced many things. But she had never been tenderly cared for like a woman before. Now, she finally experienced this feeling. And it made her feel very nice. Because of mental exhaustion, Ling Zixiao nestled into Lu Changsheng's arms, her eyelashes gradually drooping, her pale complexion revealing a tranquil smile as she slowly drifted to sleep. Hearing the even and rhythmic breathing of the beauty, Lu Changsheng gently held the fragrant and soft beauty, his palms softly caressing her smooth and delicate skin. In his heart, he silently invoked, "System." Suddenly, the system interface appeared before his eyes. Name, Lu Changsheng. Identity, son-in-law of the Lu family of Jianghu Mountain. Cultivation level, Foundation establishment 2nd level. Lifespan, 38/263. Talents, 4th grade spiritual root, Gingjin body constitution, intermediate spiritual body, blood talisman spiritual body, superior spiritual body. Cultivation techniques, 100 refinements treasure body art, 7 luminaries great freedom sword scripture, yin-yang harmony technique, 99 mystical talisman scripture. Immortal beauty technique, spells, 7 luminaries sword radiance, 7 luminaries sword shield, 7 luminaries sword escape, items, misty sky bead, profound origin bead, book of malevolent curses and fates, luminous treasure tree, golden armor bean mother scripture, life substituting talisman, coagulation crystal elixir, magical treasures, 9 treasure jade rui, black dragon magical bead, 100 steeds towering pagoda lock, skills, alchemy, 2nd rank, talisman making, 2nd rank, puppetry, 2nd rank, spirit slaughterer, 2nd rank, spiritual pets, Mount Summer tree king, 9 netherhound, 6-winged golden silkworm, cold blue dark turtle, peach blossom goo, hope goo, offspring, 153 out of 153, lost 6 years of lifespan. Lu Changsheng looked at the lifespan section on the system panel. He felt that he must think of other methods to resolve Ling Zixiao's issues. Chapter 492, Yin-Yang Energies Enhancement, Omen of War. Alone with the Dragon Invocation Technique, the Nirvana Art, and the Life Transference Technique, trying to solve the Dragon Roar Physique was basically impossible. Unless he had infinite lifespan. Otherwise, with his lifespan of just over 200 years of Foundation establishment, he simply couldn't withstand it. The main problem, he mused, is still the backlash from the Dragon Roar Physique erupting. If during the process of collecting life essence, a certain kind of Yin cold power is used to suppress this Dragon Roar primordial force, it would be much simpler for me to collect life essence. Lu Changsheng reflected on the previous experience of collecting life essence from the Dragon Roar Physique using the Dragon Invocation Technique. He felt that as long as he had certain treasures or powers to suppress the backlash of the Dragon Roar origin source while he was collecting life essence, he could then proceed with the collection of life essence from the Dragon Roar Physique with peace of mind. There would be no need to immediately use a secret technique to stabilize Ling Zixio's condition right after collecting a thread of origin source. However, to suppress the backlash of the dragon roar physique, you would need at least third-rank spiritual medicine, treasures, or ask a nascent soul immortal who cultivates Yin Chill attribute technique to make a move. Lu Changxing knew that ordinary elixir medicines and treasures simply couldn't contain the backlash of the dragon roar physique. At least a third-rank treasure would be necessary. While it was true that all the items he obtained from the system lottery were of the third rank, the chance of drawing just the right spiritual medicine or treasure that could help Ling Zixiao was extremely slim. As for a nascent soul immortal who practiced Yin Chill attribute technique, Lu Changxing couldn't even imagine it was possible. Even if he could afford to pay a great price to request the help of a nascent soul immortal, he wouldn't have the face to ask someone to suppress the backlash with Yin Chill mana while he was collecting life essence. Forget it, I can only take it slow, now that the dragon roar of yang energy is receding, and the yin-yang balance is temporarily stable. There's no need to worry about lifespan for the time being, Lu Changxing reassured himself. Given Ling Zixio's original condition where her meridians and dantian were continually withering, she would have been lucky to live another year. Now that most of the dragon roar yang energy within her body had been collected, there was no need to worry about life-threatening danger for a year or two. Therefore, he still had plenty of time to resolve Ling Zixio's issues. At that moment, Lu Changxing thought of the time when he had collected the dragon roar origin source, only to have it devoured and refined by the yin-yang energies. He looked towards the yin-yang energies swirling around his yin-yang 5 elements foundation base in his qi ocean core. The yin-yang energies, after devouring and refining the dragon roar origin source, seemed to have grown slightly stronger. He had a vague feeling that his foundation, his Dao foundation, might also have improved a bit. However, this improvement was so subtle and small that it wasn't immediately noticeable. Could my Dao foundation still improve? Lu Changxing looked at the circulating yin-yang energies and thought to himself. He looked forward to continuing the collection of dragon roar origin source, now with a bit more anticipation. He was curious to see if, after the yin-yang energies had devoured enough dragon roar origin source, his Dao foundation might experience a significant improvement, and perhaps even transform. If it were to transform, that would be quite extraordinary. Phew. Feeling the fatigue in his body and mind, Lu Changxing decided not to ponder further. Embracing the warm and tender figure in his arms, he closed his eyes and slowly drifted off to sleep. 3 days later, Lu Changxing and Ling Zixiao walked out of their cave dwelling. At this moment, the two of them seemed closer and more natural together, like a well-matched couple. Walking in the Immortal City, Lu Changxing could see that there was a marked increase in patrolling law enforcement cultivators. I wonder what happened in the city in the past few days. Lu Changxing thought back to a few days ago when he was treating Ling Zixiao. Meanwhile, the Celestial City was suppressing demon cultivators. Ling Zixiao was also curious. Although her mind had been hazy at the time, she vaguely sensed that there had been considerable commotion within the city. Soon, the two of them inquired about the past few days' happenings. They learned that a few days ago, several nascent soul demon cultivators were lurking in the Celestial City. Therefore, the Heavenly Sword sect activated the Celestial City formation to suppress and kill these demon cultivators. In the battle, one nascent soul immortal was captured and suppressed, 2 nascent soul immortals perished. Had it not been for one nascent soul immortal self-destructing, the remaining demonic path cultivators would have nearly all been suppressed and captured. 6 nascent soul immortals, and several false core immortals, Lu Changxing and Ling Zixiao were surprised when they heard the news. They hadn't expected the situation to be so severe on that day. It was known that in the Jianghu country cultivation realm, a family force led by a nascent soul immortal was considered a famous and top powerhouse. Yet now, so many demonic path nascent soul and false core cultivators had been hiding in Jiuxiao Immortal City, obviously with no small schemes. At the same time, the two were astonished at the Heavenly Sword sect's actions. They managed to suppress 3 nascent soul immortals in such a short time. No wonder the commotion was so big at the time. Alas, the world of cultivation is becoming more chaotic, I've heard that both the Qingyun sex domain and the Imperial Spirit sex domain have seen the appearance of demon cultivators and demonic sects. Yes, wasn't it said that the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Five Poisons cult from Jin Kingdom challenged the Xianjian True Monarch from the Heavenly Sword sect? It is still unknown who won or lost in that battle. If the Xianjian True Monarch is defeated, then our Jiang country cultivation realm will be in danger. Someone nearby said with a sigh. Lu Changxing heard these words and thought of his journey to Zhouxiao Immortal City, where Xiahou family from the Dark Waters pursued Chu Qingyi. Through these events, he realized that something significant was about to happen in the Jiang country cultivation realm. His heart sank, and he couldn't help but worry. Could a war be about to break out in Jiang country's cultivation realm? He had read many books in his days. He knew the history of cultivation realms. According to the records of the history of the southern wilderness, there was no shortage of battles between nations. After all, the resources of a country are finite. If progress is stagnant, the easiest solution is naturally conquest. He was able to lead a relatively safe life these past 20 years, thanks also to the relatively stable environment of the Jiang country cultivation realm. Now, with several demon cultivator incidents, coupled with two nascent soul true lords from Jin Kingdom challenging the Xianjian True Monarch, it seems there are several indications of the prelude to a cultivation realm war. Once war breaks out, the stability will be shattered, and as a member of Jiang country, he would inevitably be affected. Chapter 493, She's actually a disciple of the Five Poisons cult? Extra for 500 monthly votes, _1, is Lu Lang concerned about the current situation in the Jiang country cultivation realm? Heaven Knowledge Tower should have intelligence on this matter. Lu Lang can take a look, so you can have a general understanding of the situation. Ling Zixiao saw a hint of gravity on Lu Changsheng's face and spoke in her melodious and clear voice. She knew Lu Changsheng was preparing to establish his family's power. If war between the two countries were to break out, such family powers would be easily drawn into it, struggling to maintain neutrality. Good. Lu Changsheng nodded. For such matters, instead of making wild guesses himself, it was better to go to the intelligence organization to purchase relevant information. With the relevant information, he could better judge the current situation. Moreover, if war were to break out between the two cultivation realms, it wouldn't happen overnight, it would take a process. Soon after, the two arrived on the second floor of Heaven Knowledge Tower. Ling Zixiao was familiar with this place and had a membership token, which saved them from many protocols. I want to purchase information about the cultivation realms of Jiang country and Jin Kingdom. Preferably details on the demonic path incident in Zhouxiao Immortal City and the demonic path incident in the Qingyun region. Lu Changsheng got straight to the point. From his recent understanding, he knew the demon cultivators who caused trouble in Zhouxiao Immortal City most likely came from the neighboring cultivation realm of Jin Kingdom. Information between the cultivation realms of Jiang country and Jin Kingdom is quite extensive. You must be interested in the affairs related to the war between the two countries, right? As for the Zhouxiao Immortal City incident, our establishment has just collected related information these past few days, available in 4 levels, Grade A, B, C, and D, priced at 3,000, 1,800, 1,000, and 600 spirit stones respectively. Regarding the demonic path incident in the Qingyun region, we have 3 levels, Grade A, B, and C, priced at 1,200, 700, and 300 spirit stones respectively. Which level of intelligence does Your Excellency require? The black-clothed person from Heaven Knowledge Tower spoke calmly. That expensive? Lu Changsheng frowned slightly upon hearing this. He said, yes, I need information about the cultivation realms of Jiang country and Jin Kingdom, such as the sect master of Heavenly Corpse sect, the Five Poisons cult leader, and the challenge to Xianjian True Monarch Li Duanshuan. For the incidents in Zhouxiao Immortal City and the Qingyun region demonic path, I'll take the Grade A intelligence. Lu Changxing stated this. The price was exorbitant. But as someone at the bottom of the cultivation world, his channels for obtaining intelligence were limited. He had no choice but to spend spirit stones to acquire relevant information. As for the sect master of Heavenly Corpse sect, the Five Poisons cult leader, and the challenge to Xianjian true monarch Li Duanshuan, currently there's not much in-depth intelligence available. Since the decisive battle is imminent, in roughly 10 days, we will have related intelligence information, and at that time, you can come to our Heaven Knowledge Tower. As for the Zhoushiao Immortal City incident and the Qingyun region Demonic Path incident, that would be a total of 4,200 spirit stones. The black-clothed person spoke, stating it outright. A decisive battle is imminent? Lu Changxing nodded slightly, knowing the challenge must be in the next few days and that it would take several days before the outcome was known. He took out 4,200 spirit stones from his storage bag. In the future, when purchasing further related information on this subject, with this jade slip, Your Excellency will only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones. The black-clothed person took out 2 purple jade slips, handed them to Lu Changxing, and spoke. Good, thank you. Lu Changxing nodded slightly, received the jade slips, and scanned their content with his divine sense. Indeed, the intelligence was worthy of grade A. Their contents were indeed very detailed. The Zhoushiao Immortal City Demonic Path incident, origins and related information of these demonic path cultivators were explained. Additionally, what they had been up to around Zhoushiao Immortal City lately was broadly described. It seems like the incident in Zhoushiao Immortal City was indeed Jin Kingdom Cultivation Realm's preparation for invading Jianghu Country Cultivation Realm. After reviewing the incident in Zhoushiao Immortal City, Lu Changxing immediately understood. Because these cultivators were primarily from the 3 great demon sects of Jin Kingdom, Heavenly Corpse sect, Five Poisons cult, and Yiming Ghost sect. The remaining loose cultivators also had intricate relations with these 3 great demon sects. Meng Xiaochan, she is actually a disciple of the Jin Kingdom's Five Poisons cult? Lu Changxing, recognizing 2 familiar faces from the information in the jade slip, had previously met a woman in a black dress and a girl in a white dress in Zhoushiao Immortal City. Based on the indications from the peach blossom goo, he knew the girl in the white dress was Meng Xiaochan. He had not expected Meng Xiaochan to be a person from the demonic path of Jin Kingdom. The jade slip did not contain detailed information about Meng Xiaochan. It only introduced her general origin. She came from the Five Poisons cult. As for the woman in black, who was with her, the intelligence indicated that she was most likely Nangong Meili, the Heaven Spider emissary of Jin Kingdom's Five Poisons cult. Currently, the 2 were being hunted and wanted by the Heavenly Sword sect. After briefly reviewing this information, Lu Changxing looked at another jade slip, which contained intelligence on the demonic path happenings in the Qingyun region. The Xiahou family of Blackwater Pool served as hidden agents for the Heavenly Corpse sect of Jin Kingdom, with their patriarch Xiahou Jia once being a disciple of Heavenly Corpse sect. Qingyun sect summoned all subordinated forces to expel the Xiahou clan of Blackwater Pool. Xiahou family set up the 3rd-rank clan defending Great Formation Myriad Corpses Dark Eternity Formation, and Qingyun sect broke it with the Earth-shaking formation. Patriarch Xiahou Jia, using the earth vein energy of Blackwater Pool, turned himself into the Dark Demon Corpse combined with Dao Soldier Corpse, fighting power comparable to mid-nascent soul stage. In this battle, Qingyun sect's Kaiyun True Immortal suffered severe injuries before slaying Xiahou Jia, leading to numerous familia casualties in the Qingyun region. Among them, Bai family ancestor of White Bird Lake perished, Zhao family ancestor of White Tiger Mountain perished, Huang family ancestor of Yellow Cloud Mountain perished. Lu Changxing, reading through the casualty information, immediately paused. He looked carefully, and not seeing news of the Lu family ancestor of Qingzhou Mountain's death, he breathed a sigh of relief. Chapter 494, She's actually a disciple of the Five Poisons cult? Extra for 500 monthly votes. If Lu Yuanzhong were to fall in this battle, Qingzhou Mountain would be in danger. His wives, concubines, and children are currently all still on Qingzhou Mountain. Ancestor Xiahou Wuwa, a false core immortal who practices the heavenly mysterious Sha technique, has secretly fled during this major battle and is currently still hiding within the Jianghu Country Cultivation Realm. The Luo family of Zijin Valley, investigated by the Qingyun sect as a covert agent of the demon path, has been completely eradicated. The loose cultivator Liang Tian is a demonic path cultivator. Lu Changxing roughly finished reading the information related to the demon path incidents in the Qingyun region. The main issue was the commotion caused by the Xiahou family of the Blackwater. It was quite significant. Not only did it cause heavy losses to many families and forces in the Qingyun region, but it also injured the nascent soul immortals of the Qingyun sect. So many covert agents and powers of the demon path? It seems that the war between the Jiang country cultivation realm and the Jin kingdom cultivation realm has been brewing for a while, and it's just that I am at too low of a stage to come into contact with such information, which is why I have been unaware until now. However, the real determinant of the war between nations will still be on Xianjian true monarch Li Duanshuan. If this Xianjian true monarch can repel the two nascent soul true lords of Jin kingdom, this crisis will naturally be resolved. If this Xianjian true monarch were to be defeated, it's expected that the three great demonic sects of Jin kingdom would then initiate war. After finishing this information, Lu Changxing came to a rough conclusion in his heart. This conclusion made his heart slightly heavy. After all, it was a 2-against-1 situation. Moreover, according to the information, the duel is initiated by the two great nascent soul true lords of Jin kingdom challenging Li Duanshuan. This indicates that the situation in Jiang country is very unfavorable. He exhaled lightly, not thinking too much, and walked out of Heaven Knowledge Tower with Ling Zixiao. He handed the information jade slip in his hand to Ling Zixiao. He said aloud, "Zixiao, in about half a month, I'll return to the Qingyun region. The current state of affairs in the cultivation world is unstable." He planned to head back to Qingzhou Mountain as soon as news about the decisive battle between Li Duanshuan and the nascent souls of Jin Kingdom came out. As for Ling Zixiao, if under normal circumstances, since he had not yet established his own family, he wouldn't mind Ling Zixiao continuing to stay in Jiuxiao Immortal City. He would have her come over once he finalized his spiritual land. But the problem was that Ling Zixiao's current condition didn't allow her to be separated from him. Even though her dragon roar physique was suppressed, she still accumulates the dragon roar of yang energy every day. He needs to regularly organize and resolve it using the dragon invocation technique. Alright, during this half-month, I will handle all affairs and then return with you, Lord Lu, Ling Zixiao replied, and from her somewhat pale and frail face emerged an elegant and gentle smile. She settled in Jiuxiao Immortal City for the sake of extending her life, seeking a solution to her dragon roar physique. Now that she found a path to resolving her dragon roar physique, naturally, there was no need to continue staying in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Moreover, according to the spiritual contract and vows they made initially, Lu Changxing is fully committed to resolving her dragon roar physique, and she in turn must help Lu Changxing build up his family. Zixiao, do you have any trustworthy people, channels of relations? In the future, I will likely need to use this channel of relations to purchase or acquire certain materials in Jiuxiao Immortal City. Lu Changxing mused quietly. After this trip back to Qingzhou Mountain, unless there are exceptionally important matters, he definitely wouldn't come to Jiuxiao Immortal City again. The travel time was just too long. But he has a great demand for rare spiritual medicine and materials for third-rank talisman making. These treasures, he could only purchase or procure in an immortal city. Previously, he thought of using the Li sisters, Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu, as an avenue. Having Li Xingrua purchase certain spiritual medicines and materials in the immortal city for him, and then asking Xiao Xia to bring them over to him via the Qingyun sect individuals. Now that he has the relationship with Ling Zixiao, he thought about expanding his network of relations through her. Lord Lu, rest assured, I have several good friends in the immortal city. If my lord has any needs, just inform me, Ling Zixiao said with a dignified and graceful manner. Although she now had sincere feelings for Lu Changxing, she was clear in her mind that she and Lu Changxing were still at a stage of exchanging benefits. Now that Lu Changxing is doing everything he can to resolve her dragon roar physique, naturally, she would help him as much as possible. Moreover, Lu Changxing seeking her help was also a form of trust in her. Good, Lu Changxing nodded his head. Then he parted ways with Ling Zixiao and returned to the treasure elixir pavilion, preparing to continue concocting elixir medicines for Ling Zixiao. If it wasn't for the several furnaces of life-saving elixirs he had concocted before to supplement the dragon roar physique, it was feared that it would cost much more to stabilize Ling Zixiao's condition. Thus, he prepared to concoct some elixir medicines during these days to regulate Ling Zixiao's body. Otherwise, considering Ling Zixiao's current state, her strength might not even match a late-stage energy refinement cultivator. It would be very troublesome if they encountered danger on their way back. Elder Yi, Li Xingyu called out. Upon seeing Lu Changsheng, the adorable face of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion's Li Xingyu immediately showed a delighted expression, excitedly shouting. Previously, Lu Changsheng had mentioned he would be busy with some matters and couldn't come over. But after not seeing him for over half a month, many people had come to inquire about purchasing elixir medicines, and in just 8 more days, it would be the day of the Immortal City shop assessment, which made her a bit worried. Hee, little you, Lu Changsheng looked at the young girl, a faint smile appearing on his face. He found the girl's personality quite endearing. Having interacted with her for a while, he also regarded her as a younger generation. After chatting with Li Xingyu for a while, he learned that Li Xingrua had recently been busy contacting second-rank alchemists, hoping to invite an alchemist to preside over the shop. Alright, I am off to concoct elixirs. Lu Changsheng simply chatted for a while before heading to the alchemy chamber to start alchemy and talisman making. Why does Elder Yi have the scent of a woman on him? Chapter 495, She's actually a disciple of the 5 Poisons cult? Extra for 500 monthly votes. After Lu Changsheng left, Li Xingyu sniffed hard, faintly detecting a delicate fragrance typically associated with a woman. Previously, she had never smelled this scent on Lu Changsheng. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. Inside the alchemy chamber of the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, huff, 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 8 miniature dragon heads were exhaling purple flames, causing the fiery red pill furnace to churn with spiritual mechanism, wafting out a faint scent of medicine. Open. At that moment, Lu Changsheng looked at the pill furnace where the spiritual mechanism surged, forming hand seals as he executed the spell to open the furnace. The lid of the furnace flew up, with steam and glowing mist filling the entire room. Swoosh, 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 among the waves of heat, 9 elixir pills fell into Lu Changsheng's hands. These 9 frost elixirs should be somewhat effective for Zi Xiao's current condition, Lu Changsheng said, holding the pills and exhaling softly. Like the commonly seen in-cold attribute pills, Ling Zixiao had taken too many of them to the point they were ineffective. After inquiring about Ling Zixiao's condition and what pills she had taken, he chose to refine these frost elixirs. The main effect of these frost elixirs was to dispel fire toxins. But they also had healing and marrow cleansing effects. Using such pills for Ling Zixiao was a considerable waste. But there was no other way. Given Ling Zixiao's current condition, ordinary spirit pills were completely ineffective. She could only rely on such elixirs to stabilize her condition and nurture her health. After finishing the elixir production, Lu Changsheng walked out of the alchemy chamber. He prepared to visit the formation shop of Zi Xiao to clear out the dragon roar of yang energy within Ling Zixiao. Senior Yi. In the store's main hall, Li Xingrua had returned. Seeing Lu Changsheng, she immediately raised her voice and called out. Xingrua, how is it going? Have you managed to invite a second-rank alchemist? Lu Changsheng asked with a smile upon seeing Li Xingrua. Not yet. Li Xingrua pursed her lips slightly upon hearing this, a trace of dejection appearing on her face. Although the Li family would no longer target their treasure elixir pavilion, second-rank alchemists were extremely rare. Finding a second-rank alchemist to take up residence on short notice wasn't easy. It's okay, there's no need to rush. By the way, there are only a few days left for the Immortal City shop assessment registration, isn't it? Lu Changsheng spoke in a gentle voice. He was well aware that inviting a second-rank alchemist to stay would take time. Yes, the registration day for the assessment is in 3 days. Li Xingrua nodded lightly in confirmation. All right, I have something to attend to and will step out for a while. I will make sure to come back on time, Lu Changxing nodded and said aloud. Thank you, Senior Yi. Li Xingrua immediately expressed her gratitude, her face brimming with appreciation. There's no need for thanks. Lu Changxing chuckled, waved his hand, and walked out of the treasure elixir pavilion toward the Zishao formation shop. Senior, please wait a moment. Upon hearing Lu Changsheng's intention, the shopkeeper immediately went to inform Ling Zixiao. It wasn't long before, with her hair lightly coiffed, her face gracefully beautiful, dressed in a lake blue skirt, and carrying herself in a voluptuous and graceful manner, Ling Zixiao descended from the upstairs. She knew Lu Changxing preferred not to reveal his identity in front of too many people. As usual, her voice was soft and composed as she elegantly said, Daoist Yi, follow me. Immediately, she took Lu Changxing up to the third floor of the shop. The third floor was her usual living and resting area, where outsiders were not allowed to come. Knowing that Ling Zixiao was somewhat of a beauty enthusiast, Lu Changxing then removed the disguise of the misty sky bead. Lu Lang, I am currently selling this shop. As for business and affairs, I have already turned them all down. Regarding the procurement and acquisition of materials you mentioned, I have contacted a few friends. In the future, if Lu Lang needs such services, I could ask them to undertake the procurement and acquisition on your behalf, then entrust it to either the Nine Heavens Commerce Guild or the Qingyun Commerce Guild to deliver to the Qingyun region. I have already looked into it. The Nine Heavens Commerce Guild of the Heavenly Sword Sect and the Qingyun Commerce Guild of the Qingyun Sect often interact and have such business services, Ling Zixiao said, speaking thus. Oh, so the guild can deliver directly to the Qingyun region? Upon hearing this, Lu Changxing raised an eyebrow. He had previously thought about having the people from the Qingyun sect collect the materials through Shaoxia. It seemed now that it would be sufficient to have them directly delivered by the Commerce Guild. Yes, the guilds typically provide this kind of service. Ling Zixiao nodded with a slight smile, indicating that the major commerce guilds did indeed conduct such business and had such services. However, the price was quite high, and they charged based on a percentage of the total value of the goods. But the upside was that they guaranteed safety and credibility. Good, Zixiao, later I will give you a list. You can have them purchase externally separately, and once a certain quantity is reached, entrust the guild to send it over, Lu Changxing promptly said. With this channel in place, he could slowly gather many of the materials and spiritual medicines he needed in Immortal City. Procuring them externally himself could also greatly reduce the cost. This was unlike before when he had to buy at high prices from large commerce guilds and shops. After he finished speaking, he took out a frost elixir and said, Zixiao, this is the elixir I have crafted for you. See how it works? Thank you, Lu Lang. Ling Zixiao responded with a tender smile, receiving the porcelain bottle. She poured out a blue, crystal-clear elixir. Is this a frost elixir? She immediately recognized the elixir. Yes, it is indeed a frost elixir. Given your current condition, most elixirs are ineffective, but since you haven't taken a frost elixir before, it will help you regulate your body somewhat. Lu Changxing nodded as he said this. You've gone to great lengths, Lu Lang. A hint of emotion surfaced on Ling Zixiao's face. She had learned about the various cooling and healing elixirs in her initial attempt to treat her injuries. The reason she hadn't taken many frost elixirs was partly due to their high cost, and also because their cost-effectiveness was too low. The main effect of the frost elixir was to remove fire poison, with secondary effects of marrow cleansing and healing. To take the frost elixir for its minor healing efficacy was a severe waste. It's no trouble. As long as I can help you get your body in order, it's all worth it, Lu Changxing waved his hand and said in a warm tone. He could rely on his own second-rank alchemy skills. And that he could craft the elixirs himself. Otherwise, given Ling Zixiao's current condition, she was utterly a gold-consuming giant. Even an abundance of spirit stones would not withstand such expenditure. However, seeing the expression in Ling Zixiao's eyes made him feel that it was all worth it. After all, he was not unaware that initially, Ling Zixiao's interactions with him were all an act. But after spending some time together, her affection for him had clearly grown. As long as he kept it up and continued to build rapport, the chances were good that she would wholeheartedly become the mother of his child in the future. Ling Zixiao smiled, nodding her head gently. She came to the bedside, removed her lake blue, exquisitely embroidered shoes, revealing her slender and delicate ankles beneath her dress, and her jade feet wrapped in snow-white silk stockings. Then, she sat down cross-legged, took the frost elixir, and began to assimilate it. Chapter 496, Lost a 2 versus 1 battle, can you even play? _1 Ling Zixiao sat cross-legged on the bed. After taking the frost elixir, strands of cold air emanated and flowed around her body. Lu Changxing quietly observed the effects of the frost elixir on Ling Zixiao. After a long time, he came to a conclusion. There were effects, but indeed, they were quite average. Compared to the time and cost spent, it was truly disappointing. Unless there is a third-rank elixir, or some rare cold attribute elixir medicines. Otherwise, wanting to regulate and nourish the body and heal the withered meridians and dantian is too difficult. Lu Changxing sighed softly in his heart. However, he had not given up. Once Ling Zixiao finished assimilating the elixir, he passed on the tender embrace technique, a dual cultivation technique, to her. This technique belonged to the higher tier of dual cultivation techniques. Both the male and female participants would benefit. It would definitely help in Ling Zixiao's recovery. Ling Zixiao saw that Lu Changxing had taken out another secret dual cultivation technique and didn't quite know what to say. She wondered if Lu Changxing had obtained some kind of romantic inheritance. Why were all his techniques related to dual cultivation? However, she did not ask much more. Under Lu Changxing's guidance, she quickly understood the technique. Straight away, the two began their cultivation. Afterward, Lu Lang, I can't do this anymore, just once, and Ling Zixiao's face turned crimson, like a puddle of mud, nestling in Lu Changxing's embrace. On the one hand, the effort of the tender embrace technique was rather intense. On the other hand, her current physical condition was truly very bad. After her dragon roar origin source was depleted and she suffered from the backlash of the dragon roar physique, her body was extremely weak. If said that before, she still counted as a foundation establishment cultivator, and could exert a 10th or 20th of her mana. Then now, her strength wasn't even comparable to some energy refinement late-stage cultivators. It's alright, take it slow. Lu Changxing's palms were gentle and soft, his soothing voice comforting the beauty. He knew that healing was not something to be rushed. Lu Lang, in a few more days, you will be going back. How do you plan to arrange for the sisters at Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Ling Zixiao snuggled in Lu Changxing's arms, whispering. My encounters with them were fleeting, what plans could I possibly have? Lu Changxing felt puzzled upon hearing this. Huh? My lord, didn't you go to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion with the intention of taking the Li sisters under your wing? I see that both sisters are quite pretty, especially the elder sister, who's not only extremely beautiful but also a high-quality alchemist. With your tutelage and guidance, Lu Lang, I reckon it won't be an issue for her to become a second-rank alchemist in the future. Ling Zixiao drew circles on Lu Changxing's chest with her slender jade fingers, smiling as she spoke. Although through the days they spent together, her perception of Lu Changxing had changed, she still believed that Lu Changxing's choice to settle in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion was because he fancied the Li sisters. What nonsense are you speaking? Am I the kind of man to take in every woman I see? I just saw that the two girls had it hard, and as it happened, I lent them a hand. Lu Changxing was somewhat speechless. He had a good impression of the two sisters, but he only regarded them as juniors. Besides, who would consider taking home anyone they meet to have children? Although he had thought about it when he first saw Li Xingrua, it was just a fleeting thought. Yes, indeed, I also find the sisters pitiable, orphaned, and with no one to rely on. If they could be taken in by you, Lu Lang, they would then have someone to rely on. Ling Zixiao's skin was rosy and delicate, and she said with a half-smile. It seems you're getting spirited again. When he heard this, Lu Changxing immediately pressed her beneath him. "No, my lord, have mercy." Ling Zixiu's call turned into a startled cry, her luscious voice beginning to falter, soon becoming intermittent and indistinct. 3 days later. "Master Yi, you've been a great help." That day, Lu Changxing and Li Xingrua came to the 100 Arts Hall in Immortal City for their assessment registration. There weren't many people. After all, the number of second-rank artisans in the entire Immortal City was limited. Furthermore, not every second-rank artisan would become the featured attraction of a particular shop and come to participate in the assessment registration. "Is this Master Yi Fan?" As soon as Lu Changxing and Li Xingrua entered the alchemy hall, someone recognized him and greeted him politely. "This is the owner of Little Dan Tower, a second-rank lower-tier alchemist." Li Xingrua introduced the man to Lu Changxing via telepathic message. "Indeed, it's Yi. A pleasure to meet you." Lu Changxing did not know the person, but you don't slap a smiling face. Seeing that the other party was so polite, he naturally returned the greeting with courtesy. During the process, several more alchemists and elixir shop owners came to chat and greet Lu Changxing, expressing interest in having tea together and sharing their understanding of alchemy. After all, in the span of 3 months, Lu Changxing had earned a modest reputation in Immortal City. Not only could he refine second-rank superior elixir medicines, but most of the elixirs he refined were of fine and supreme quality. This was quite astonishing. Lu Changxing responded courteously to all of them, and afterward, he indicated that he would go into seclusion for cultivation after some time. If they knew any second-rank alchemists, they could introduce him or her to come to Treasure Elixir Pavilion to become a featured alchemist. Upon hearing this, several alchemists mentioned that they had friends who might inquire on behalf of Lu Changxing. Indeed, this is the benefit of having a skill, you won't starve anywhere. If the skill is notable and reaches second rank, you can make a living anywhere. After chatting with these people for a while, Lu Changxing thought to himself. Between the previous visits from the Li family, and the current enthusiastic networking, he deeply realized the benefits that come with having a perfected skill. "Master Yi, thank you very much." Li Xingrua, who was beside him, was moved by the scene and thanked Lu Changxing. Chapter 497, Lost a 2 vs 1 battle, can you even play? She knew that Lu Changxing was about to leave and was recruiting an alchemist to preside over his store. Since her parents passed away, no one had ever been so kind to her. It made her feel intensely grateful and moved. "Hee, it's a trifle." Lu Changxing chuckled, waving his hand dismissively. At that moment, the alchemy assessment began. The assessment was straightforward. It involved concocting a furnace of second-rank elixir medicines. Lu Changxing concocted a furnace of middle-grade true essence elixirs and easily passed the assessment. Afterward, he registered his identity information with Treasure Elixir Pavilion, completing the process. When verifying his identity information, his disguise provided by the Misty Sky bead went undetected. This made Lu Changxing silently note that with the Misty Sky bead, he could not continue conducting assessments on behalf of others. "Xingrua, I will be leaving Jianghu Immortal City in a couple of days. So I won't be going back to Treasure Elixir Pavilion now. Please convey my farewell to Xingyu later." After leaving 100 Arts Hall, Lu Changxing directly said this to Li Xingrua. Parting was the most poignant. Lu Changxing was already not a person given to melancholy feelings. But it was obvious that both Li Xingrua and Li Xingyu were. Since the matter with Treasure Elixir Pavilion was resolved, he planned to leave it at that and not go back. "Senior Yi." Hearing this, Li Xingruo's heart instantly filled with discomfort. During the months they had spent together, she had felt a sense of long-lost paternal love and care from Lu Changxing. Now, hearing about Lu Changxing's impending departure, she felt extremely reluctant to part. However, Lu Changxing had mentioned long ago that he would leave Jianghu Immortal City. Had it not been for the matters concerning her family's Treasure Elixir Pavilion, he might have left earlier. She pursed her lips lightly and raised her head to look at Lu Changxing, forcing a cheerful smile as she said, "Xingrua wishes Senior Yi a smooth journey and may all be well with you." We'll meet again someday. Lu Chengsheng looked at her eyes, which were slightly reddened, and sighed softly. Knowing that it was unlikely they would meet again. He thought for a moment and then said, "In the future, we can correspond through letters. I've heard that the major commercial guilds can relay things to each other. If I need to purchase certain items in the future, I might trouble you, Xingrua. And if you have any doubts about alchemy, you can also write to me. Although it might take a long time for letters to arrive, perhaps by the time I reply, you will have already resolved your doubts." Lu Chengxing spoke in a gentle manner. He gave Li Xingrua an address from Red Leaf Valley Market, a shop that sells peace charms. Senior Yi, if you have any needs, feel free to send me a letter anytime. Li Xingrua nodded upon hearing this. The steadfast clarity in her eyes was obscured by the sentimentalism of the moment. All right. Lu Chengsheng gave a light smile and then strode away. 2 days later. Is there any information on the decisive battle between Xianjian True Monarch, Heavenly Corpse Sect Master, and Five Poisons Cult Leader? Lu Chengxing arrived at Heaven Knowledge Tower and asked aloud. There is. The intelligence report is divided into 2 grades, Grade A and Grade B, priced at 3,000 and 1,000 spirit stones respectively. The person in black replied. Grade A. Lu Chengxing stated directly. He took out 3,000 spirit stones. With this jade slip, you only need to pay 50% of the spirit stones for subsequent related updates. The person in black accepted the spirit stones and handed over a purple jade slip to Lu Chengxing. Understood. Lu Chengxing took the jade slip and nodded. Immediately, he delved into the jade slip with his divine sense to read the contents. Xianjian True Monarch fought against 2 alone, repelling both the Five Poisons Cult Leader and the Heavenly Corpse Sect Master. When Lu Chengxing saw the message, his spirit was lifted, and a great weight fell from his heart. He knew that the battle had likely averted a war between Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom. Xianjian True Monarch Li Duanchuan, a middle-stage nascent soul cultivator, practices the Heavenly Sword sect-defining cultivation method, the Heavenly Sword True Scripture. In a 2-against-1 situation, not only did he repel the Heavenly Corpse Sect Master and the Five Poisons Cult Leader, but he also nearly slew the Five Poisons Cult Leader. Had it not been for the Five Poisons Cult Leader conceding defeat and the Supreme Elder of the Yiming Ghost Sect intervening with the sect's treasures, the Myriad Ghosts Blood Pool, and Myriad Ghosts Dao Soldier, Li Duanchuan had the chance to slay a nascent soul True Monarch. Lu Chengxing was looking at the intelligence report within the jade slip. He felt some admiration for this nascent soul True Monarch of Jiang Country. No wonder Yun Jianfeng, a golden core true person from the Heavenly Sword Sect, had arrived in Zhouxiao Immortal City to exterminate demon cultivators at such a time. It was because Li Duanchuan was confident of victory in this battle. No need for too many to stand by his side. This battle may have prevented a war between Jiang Country and Jin Kingdom from breaking out, but I suspect there will still be undercurrents, and it won't be peaceful. Lu Chengxing thought to himself. He felt that things couldn't possibly end so easily. After I return this time, I must accelerate my progress and enhance my strength. Whether it's childbirth or the children's growth, I need to pay close attention to both aspects. Otherwise, if a war between countries erupts and my strength isn't sufficient, I won't be able to protect my wives and children. This turn of events instilled an involuntary sense of urgency in Lu Chengxing. Back in the Qi refinement realm, he had a sense of urgency too. He was eager to reach foundation establishment so that he could have the power to protect himself and settle in the cultivation world. That's why he had been recklessly having children, hoping to improve his strength through his children and the system lottery. But after establishing his foundation, he had unavoidably relaxed quite a bit. Having the power to protect himself, he felt that there was no rush in everything. After all, he had enough lifespan, not lacking time, aiming for success in the long run. But this demon path event served as a wake-up call for him. Besides considering his immediate surroundings, he needed to take the bigger picture into account. If the Jiang Country cultivation realm remained stable, his current strength would be sufficient in the Qingyun region. As long as he didn't act recklessly, he would generally be safe. Chapter 498, Lost a 2 versus 1 battle, can you even play? But when a stable environment is disrupted, and matters escalate to a confrontation between nations, mere foundation establishment is insignificant. Even without escalating to war between nations. Just the Qingyun sect's call to arms for the major families to campaign against the Xiahou clan. In the process, many foundation establishment ancestors fell. If it were a war between nations, one can only imagine. Take, for instance, the Demon Path incident at the Jianghu Immortal City. Before the war even began, 3 nascent soul immortals had perished. The path of cultivation is long and arduous. Lu Chengxing stepped out of Heaven Knowledge Tower, exhaling deeply. He felt that if the Jiang country cultivation realm were to fall into chaos, he would inevitably be swept up in the overwhelming current of fate. This time, Qingyun sect's mobilization of the major families to campaign against the Xiahou family results in numerous deaths among foundation establishment ancestors. Upon my return, revealing my foundation establishment cultivation could present an opportunity to acquire a spiritual land. Lu Chengxing paused, a sudden thought occurring to him. Previously, his plan involved using Xiao Xia's connections to participate in the 100 Arts Conference and enter Qingyun sect, thus securing a spiritual vein-blessed land. But now, in the war where Qingyun sect campaigned against the Xiahou clan, many foundation establishment ancestors from various families perished. If some of these families were like Qingzhou Mountain with only one foundation establishment ancestor holding the fort, they might be facing a familial crisis. They had no choice but to perform a desperate act, like cutting off an arm to save the body, by giving up their spiritual land. Otherwise, they would only attract disaster unnecessarily. And he could take advantage of this situation to choose a suitable spirit vein for himself. After all, with Ling Zixiao, the array master, at his side, the only thing his family lacked now was a spiritual land. If he continued to rely on the approach through Xiao Xia, it would probably take several more years. It's time to return. Lu Chengxing let out a sigh and put away the intelligence jade slip. He was ready to call on Ling Zixiao and depart straight for Qingzhou Mountain. He arrived at the rented courtyard. Where is she? Lu Chengxing, finding Ling Zixiao was not in the courtyard, was somewhat surprised. 2 days ago, Ling Zixiao's formation shop had been sold. In a place like Jianghu Immortal City, saying that a shop was hard to come by was no exaggeration. Therefore, the transfer and sale of the shop attracted countless families and powers vying to buy it. And Ling Zixiao's rationale for selling the shop was straightforward. She didn't have much time left and was no longer struggling against it. Planning to use her remaining time to travel and see if she could find an opportunity. Not many would doubt such a story. Because for these 3 years, due to being an array master with the dragon roar physique, Ling Zixiao held no small fame in Jianghu Immortal City. Many knew that this array master's life was nearing its end. He took out a sensing talisman to check Ling Zixiao's whereabouts. Treasure Elixir Pavilion? Lu Chengxing, through the Yin-Yang sensing talisman, sensed Ling Zixiao was in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. This left him somewhat astonished. Why would Ling Zixiao be in the Treasure Elixir Pavilion? He thought for a moment and headed towards the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. However, before he could get there, Ling Zixiao, dressed in a blue gown with a graceful demeanor and elegant temperament, had already come over. He sensed Ling Zixiao's situation through the Yin-Yang sensing talisman. Similarly, Ling Zixiao's Yin-Yang sensing talisman could sense his location. Lu Lang, do you intend to leave now? Ling Zixiao looked towards Lu Chengxing and asked. Previously, Lu Chengxing had told her that as soon as the information about Li Duangshuan's decisive battle was out from Heaven Knowledge Tower, he was ready to leave Jianghu Immortal City. Yes, do you need to prepare anything else? Lu Chengxing nodded. This servant is already prepared and can leave at any time. Ling Zixiao said with a slight smile. All right, then let's set off. Lu Chengxing nodded. Immediately after, the two of them left Jianghu Immortal City, commanding the spirit boat as they flew towards Jianghu mountain. Chapter 499, 99 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. _1 Z Xiao, did you have any business at the Treasure Elixir Pavilion earlier? Aboard the spirit boat, Lu Changxing asked Ling Zixiao. I saw that Lord Husband had quite a fateful encounter with the two young ladies. Considering that we are now departing, and the sisters will be left alone and helpless in Immortal City, it's quite pitiable, so I introduced them to a few good friends to get acquainted. That way, they can seek help if anything arises in the future. Ling Zixiao spoke with an elegant demeanor, her voice gentle and warm. With a light smile and a trace of teasing, she said, I noticed that the two young ladies seemed quite reluctant to part with Lu Lang, probably harboring quite a bit of affection. If Lu Lang is willing, a simple invitation may be all it takes for them to wish to depart with you. Ling Zixiao's lips curled with a hint of teasing. It was but a passing acquaintance, and their attachment to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion is quite evident. So why make them leave Jiuxiao Immortal City and accompany me to such an insignificant place? Lu Changxing shook his head and said softly. Just as Ling Zixiao had said, if he were to invite Li Xingrua and her sister to come with him, they would certainly give it serious thought. But after considering, he chose not to do so. For one thing, extending an invitation didn't necessarily guarantee acceptance. After all, his relationship with the sisters hadn't reached such a deep level yet. And the sisters obviously had deep feelings for the Treasure Elixir Pavilion, which wouldn't be easy to cut off. Otherwise, they could have simply sold or transferred the shop during their difficult times and chosen to leave. With Li Xingruo's talent in alchemy, relying on the wealth left by her parents, she would obviously fare better without sticking to the Treasure Elixir Pavilion. On the other hand, he also had to consider on what grounds he would invite them back with him. If the two agreed, how would he settle them? As concubines? As alchemy service workers? As guest elders? Thus, Lu Changxing thought it over and decided against it. After all, his fundamental principle was that if he brought someone home with him, he should fulfill a certain duty and responsibility. He currently had a lot to attend to. For the time being, he didn't want to allocate too much of his time and energy to this matter. Upon hearing this, Ling Zixiao merely smiled faintly and said no more. She looked at the surrounding scenery nonchalantly and asked, where in Qingyun region does Lu Lang reside? Jianghu mountain. According to the distance of our journey, it will probably take 4 or 5 months to arrive. Lu Changxing said aloud. On his way back, he certainly couldn't rush the entire journey. He would need to stop and rest along the way and alleviate the dragon roar of yang energy from Ling Zixiao. Jianghu mountain, Ling Zixiao repeated, nodding thoughtfully as she heard this. She had previously purchased information about Lu Changxing from Heaven Knowledge Tower. She knew that Lu Changxing came from the Lu family of Jianghu mountain. However, the situation she had come to understand through interacting with Lu Changxing did not match what Heaven Knowledge Tower had on record about him. I've had some fortunate encounters, so I tend to hide my abilities in Jianghu mountain. On this trip back, I will need you, Zi Xiao, to keep some of my affairs a secret. Lu Changxing spoke, not hiding any information and sharing some details about himself. In front of Ling Zixiao, he had revealed his second-tier top-level alchemy skills. Although he was prepared to show his alchemy skills upon returning to Jianghu mountain, he couldn't possibly reveal everything at once. It required a systematic and gradual process. Please rest assured, Lord Husband, Ling Zixiao responded after hearing this, her face showcasing an elegant, gentle smile. She knew the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower was not incorrect. It was just that Lu Changxing had been concealing his skills deeply. This made her inwardly marvel at the extent of his concealment. According to the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower, Lu Changxing was not yet 40. At that age, not only had he broken through to foundation establishment, he had also elevated both alchemy and talisman making to the second rank. This was astonishing. She, with her innate talent for the formation path and under the tutelage of a master, was able to reach her current level. Yet, according to the information from Heaven Knowledge Tower, Lu Changxing had been rejected during an immortal sex assessment at Qingyun's sect and had become a son-in-law taken into the Lu family. This indicated that Lu Changsheng's spiritual root talent must be rather ordinary. And as a son-in-law taken into the Lu family, even if he was exceptionally talented in the talisman path and alchemy, without a prominent teacher's guidance, it would be very difficult to achieve such accomplishments. Besides, managing to succeed in talisman crafting, alchemy, and cultivation simultaneously was extraordinary. Without contemplating too deeply on this matter, she continued to chat leisurely with Lu Changxing. Talking about her own experiences and past helped foster an emotional bond between them. After they had been casually talking for a long time, Lu Changsheng's brows suddenly furrowed. Lu Lang, what's wrong? Ling Zixiao asked, noticing the change in his expression. It seems that we have been targeted since leaving Immortal City, said Lu Changxing, his brows relaxing into a wry smile. Thanks to the Purple Mansion elixir, his divine sense had already progressed to the late Foundation establishment stage. Just now, he had sensed a breath of aura moving swiftly in their direction, yet maintaining a certain distance from his spirit boat. Having experienced several robber cultivator incidents in the past, Lu Changxing immediately surmised that the person was probably targeting him and Ling Zixiao. Thinking of attacking once they were a certain distance away from Immortal City. Targeted? Ling Zixiao briefly paused, surprised at his remark. Although her physical condition was extremely weak due to the dragon roar physique, and she had only 1/10 of her mana, her divine sense was unimpaired. Moreover, having cultivated a divine consciousness technique and taken special elixirs for this aspect, her divine sense was much stronger than her peers, comparable to that of someone at the middle stage of Foundation establishment. Yet she hadn't noticed any pursuit. However, since Lu Changxing had mentioned it, she naturally didn't doubt him. After all, having sold her shop and leaving Jianghu Immortal City, it made sense if someone was covertly watching her, perhaps intending to kill for loot. Chapter 500, The 99 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. Right away, Ling Zixiao pulled out a set of formation tools from her storage bag and said, Lu Lang, the celestial canopy formation can conceal one's shape and isolate the breath, so that even a Foundation establishment cultivator would find it difficult to detect. You should increase the distance now, find a place to land, and we can use formations to hide. Ling Zixiao quickly instructed. As an array master, she naturally had her means. She had prepared several sets of formation tools for self-defense. All right. Upon hearing this, Lu Changxing nodded. He controlled the nucleus of the spirit boat, increasing its speed to the fastest, leaving a trail of light across the sky. With more than 300 second-rank spirit talismans, he had no fear of this kind of ambush. But he was currently accompanied by Ling Zixiao. Although Ling Zixiao was a Foundation establishment cultivator, due to her physical weakness, she was even less capable than an average Qi refinement peak cultivator. So, his plan was to let Ling Zixiao use formations to hide and protect herself. As for himself, since these people dared to pursue them, he naturally wouldn't be polite. This trip to Jianghu Immortal City had cost him quite a lot of spirit stones. After returning to Qingzhou Mountain, purchasing spirit land would be no small expenditure either. Now that people were offering their wealth on a silver platter, he naturally would not hold back. It wasn't long before the spirit boat landed on a mountain peak. Zixiao, after you set up the formation, set up a defensive array for yourself as well, said Lu Changxing as he put away the spirit boat. Lu Lang, are you planning to? Hearing such words and seeing the calm and indifferent expression on Lu Changxing's face, Ling Zixiao immediately sensed his intention and asked. Yes, since they want to play the role of robber cultivators, they must be prepared to pay the price, replied Lu Changxing with a light laugh and an indifferent expression. Ling Zixiao confirmed it, feeling surprised in her heart. She had been in Jianghu Immortal City for so long and experienced many things. She knew very well that those who dared to act as robber cultivators were often not simple in strength, especially those who lurked in the shadows and continuously pursued their quarry. They generally had great confidence. After all, robber cultivators sought wealth through their actions, and if they weren't certain, they wouldn't take the risk. But the fact that Lu Changxing dared to confront them head-on upon realizing that robber cultivators were tracking them in secret, intending to eliminate them, was simply astonishing. Although she didn't know the specifics of Lu Changxing's strength, she assumed he was at most in the middle stage of Foundation establishment. One reason was his age, and the other was that Lu Changxing had revealed the cultivation level of the Foundation establishment middle stage in front of her. But considering that Lu Changxing was aware of being tracked and dared to act this way, Ling Zixiao did not try to dissuade him further. She nodded and said, "Since you are confident, Lu Lang, I will first set up a small inverted 5 elements formation to ensure my safety. Later, I will also deploy a small Azura killing formation. You can lead them into the array when the time comes," Ling Zixiao added quickly. In the meantime, a set of formation tools appeared. She moved her hands in a magical gesture, raising a number of array flags into the air and letting them fly out. Then she took out several spirit stones and activated the array plate, setting up the formation not too far away. "Zixiao, be careful not to hurt yourself." "I'm confident and don't need to do this," Lu Changxing said. He could see that Ling Zixiao wanted to contribute, to prevent him from losing, but in his opinion, unless the robber cultivators pursuing them were nascent soul immortals, he was almost certain of victory without the need for formations. However, if they were nascent soul immortals, they wouldn't be detected by him at all. Therefore, these robber cultivators were at most at the Foundation establishment level. "My lord, I understand," replied Ling Zixiao with a faint smile on her somewhat pale face upon hearing Lu Changxing's words. Her hands continued to move in the magical gesture, quickly setting up a simplified version of the inverted 5 elements formation. The layout of a formation can be simplified based on the number of flagpoles, reducing the area it covers. With limited time, Ling Zixiao simply used the formation to protect herself, so it was rather basic, covering only a 9-yard radius. After setting up the inverted 5 elements formation, Ling Zixiao entered the area of the formation. She manipulated the array plate, causing herself and the formation to disappear from Lu Changxing's sight. "So this is the simplified inverted 5 elements formation? It is indeed extraordinary," Lu Changxing murmured as he watched Ling Zixiao vanish. Had he not watched Ling Zixiao disappear in front of him, and his divine sense been as sharp as that of a late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator, he might have struggled to detect Ling Zixiao's presence. Moreover, the inverted 5 elements formation also had a confusing effect. Even if he detected Ling Zixiao's breath, it might not necessarily indicate her actual position. "When I establish my family, I will use a complete version of the inverted 5 elements formation for the interior and a different set of formations for the exterior," Lu Changxing thought to himself. Shortly after, he saw movement within the formation. A number of small flags flew out, landing at some distance away. He knew Ling Zixiao was setting up another killing array. "Zixiao, they are about to arrive," Lu Changxing said as he sensed the presence of someone approaching from afar. "That's just perfect," Ling Zixiao replied immediately through sound transmission. She moved the array plate to solidify the small Azura killing formation in the distance. Due to the limited time, this small Azura killing formation only covered a 9-yard radius, effectively serving as a small-scale trap. "Lu Lang, be careful. If you can't overcome them, draw the enemy into the killing array. My inverted 5 elements formation can also share some of the pressure," Ling Zixiao communicated through sound transmission. "Don't worry," Lu Changxing assured, looking up slightly at the distant sky. Before long, a small flying boat appeared from afar. 5? Lu Changxing raised his eyebrows when he saw 5 figures standing on the flying boat. He had previously sensed only 4 presences and thought there were only 4 people. Seeing the number of people on the flying boat, he realized one had concealed their presence, eluding his detection. Chapter 501, The 99 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. 3 at the Foundation establishment early stage, 1 at the middle stage, and 1 at the late stage. Lu Changxing's divine sense examined the cultivation levels of the 5 people. Except for one of them whose cultivation aura was hidden, making it impossible for him to determine. For the other 4, he discerned their cultivation strength at a glance. 5 Foundation Establishment Robber Cultivators. Ling Zixiao, within the inverted 5 elements formation, was startled when she saw the spirit boat appear in the firmament with figures aboard. She didn't dare to use her divine sense to investigate these people. But without thinking, she knew that those daring to be robber cultivators and pursuing her and Lu Changxing must certainly be at the Foundation Establishment cultivation level. Could it be that fellow Daoists are looking for Yi? Lu Changxing, draped in a blue robe with his hands clasped behind his back, spoke calmly to the firmament. Fellow Daoist, greetings. Our group is here to find Master Ling for some business matters to discuss with her. May I ask where Master Ling is? The luminescence of the spirit boat flashed, crossing a large distance to hang above the mountaintop. The one leading them, whose cultivation strength Lu Changxing couldn't discern, was a middle-aged man with a purple face exuding a natural aura of authority. He looked towards Lu Changxing, then his divine sense searched in all directions, trying to locate Ling Zixiao. Through tracking methods, he could vaguely sense that Ling Zixiao's aura was in this vicinity. Oh. There are matters to discuss with Master Ling. Lu Changxing raised an eyebrow upon hearing this. He suspected that they might have harbored ill intentions towards Ling Zixiao due to her selling her shop and leaving Jianghu Immortal City. Although Ling Zixiao typically spent most of what she had on preserving her own life, as an array master, the wealth she had accumulated was still a huge sum for an average Foundation Establishment cultivator. Moreover, she had sold all her possessions like shops and courtyards. Master Ling had some matters to attend to and has parted ways with me. Whatever business fellow Daoists have, you can tell me, Lu Changxing spoke with equanimity. However, before he could finish speaking, he waved his hands. From within his sleeves, hundreds of talismans streamed out, arranging themselves in mid-air, and swiftly surrounded the 5 people on the spirit boat. Under normal circumstances, he would not need to resort to a talisman formation. But since there were not only 5 of them but also a likely Foundation Establishment late-stage cultivator among them, Lu Changxing did not hold back, thinking to use the talisman formation for a quick resolution. So many talismans, be careful. Is this a talisman formation? Who exactly are you? Fellow Daoist, there's a misunderstanding. We really did come to find Master Ling for business. Seeing this display of talismans, they were all shocked and shouted. They could clearly feel that among these hundreds of talismans, there were dozens exuding the aura of second rank. Without a word, dozens of second-rank spirit talismans and hundreds of first-rank spirit talismans were summoned. This was not something they could withstand with mere wealth. Moreover, the talismans arranged by Lu Changxing seemed like a legendary talisman formation. Thus, faced with such a formation, they instantly abandoned any thoughts of robbery. The 9-9 Wind Fire Thunder Talisman Array. Lu Changxing paid no heed to the words of the 5, his mind moved. 1 second-rank Supreme Talisman, 9 second-rank Superior Grade Talismans, 18 second-rank Middle-Grade Talismans, and 36 second-rank Low-Grade Talismans. Plus 108 first-rank Middle, Superior, and Supreme Grade Talismans were activated all together. These talismans, connected by their aura, aided by the 5 elements of wind and fire, and accompanied by rolling thunder, arranged in all directions, obscuring a part of the sky, enshrouding the 5 people on the spirit boat. Break for me. Upon the spirit boat, a middle-aged man in his 30s or 40s with a gaunt face immediately took out a pair of spiritual artifact scissors, attempting to break through the heavy encirclement of the talisman formation before it could fully activate its power. However, the moment the talisman formation was complete, fierce winds blew, fiery flames surged, thunder rumbled mightily, and directly the spiritual artifact scissors let out a mournful cry. Kill! Lu Changxing formed seals with his hands, directly driving the great formation, causing the spiritual mechanisms of these talismans to surge and begin bombarding. Not good, second brother, third brother, fifth brother. The leading purple-faced man also recognized the might of this talisman formation. Making hand seals, spiritual light swelled around him, forming a layer of mana shield, while also summoning a thick black column. The black column flickered with a dim light, connected to the spirit boat, forming a vigorous shield of aura. Upon hearing his voice, the other 3 people on the spirit boat also took action, each summoning their magic artifacts. But under the assault of the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman array, the purple-faced man's shield of aura cracked in an instant, threatening to shatter. The purple-faced man hurriedly shouted, "Fellow Daoist has misunderstood. I am here to find Master Ling for a true matter of business." Heh. Lu Chengsheng's lips curled upwards, letting out a cold laugh. Ling Zixiao was not far away. If he knew these people, he would have already sent a message to himself. This person obviously thought that Ling Zixiao was not here and wanted to use such words to confuse him. He had a clear understanding in his heart, and with his hands into a several-inch long, he exerted himself to the fullest to operate the Wind Fire Thunder Talisman burst forth with dazzling light in the sky, using the first great talisman's wind and fire to boost the power, and once more, he unleashed the extreme